It's the penultimate round of the IAME Euro Series in 2024 as the paddock lands in Germany. This is Pro Kart Raceland Wackersdorf, also known as the karting capital of Europe. Situated in the heart of Bavaria, Wackersdorf is the home of many of the country's sporting and cultural attractions. The area surrounding Pro Kart Raceland Wackersdorf is rich in natural beauty, cultural heritage and recreational opportunities, whether you're looking to unwind in the nature at the RGMMC, explore the local history or indulge in the Bavarian traditions. There is something for everyone to enjoy, including motorsport, and 200 of the world's finest drivers have descended on the Wackersdorf circuit for, as we mentioned, round 3 of that IAME Euro Series. Pro Kart Raceland, it is the year of opening 1997. The event record set by Joseph Smith in a non-qualifying practice earlier on this weekend, 49.641, an absolutely outstanding time. No one at this moment has managed to beat it. The circuit itself, though, an absolutely fantastic venue, spanning at 1.19 kilometers, 230 meters down the main straight, 125 meters down the infield straight. The track widens to around 12 meters to 9 meters at an elevation of 3 meters. All of those undulations coming in the round of the first sector as you go up through turn 1, and then you come back down as you exit out through turns 4, 5, and all around that area. Turns, there are 11 of them, 7 to the right, 4 to the left, and 4 hairpins out there. The main overtaking opportunities are mainly into those hairpins, in towards turn 2, 4, 9, and 10. But we have seen overtakes in many other corners. It's just a case of getting it right the first time of asking. The top speed that drivers will be reaching around this circuit is around 120 kilometers an hour in towards turn 1. It's not a braking zone, but they do scrub off a lot of speed as they head round turn number 1 in towards turn 2. Average speed around 85 kilometers an hour. It is a fast, demanding circuit for our drivers, and the first time the series has been here since 2019. Myself, Anthony Jordan, will be your commentator for today, and I'll be joined with Guillaume Alvarez. Guillaume, welcome back to the series. Great to have you here.
Yes, indeed. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Pro Kart Raceland of Wackersdorf. A pleasure to be by your side, Anthony. A pleasure to be back with the RGMMC crew for the third round of this year's championship, the top European series for the IAME X30 classes, mini, juniors and seniors. We had 9 races yesterday with X30 Senior, the best of them all, with more than 100 competitors in this class, only 210 competing this weekend. 9 races yesterday. We left the seniors. We're going to start again with them this morning for another rotation of 3 races, and then we'll have the juniors and the minis for the first time in racing mode on track. Martin Bean, the race director of all RGMMC event in the IAME X30 Euro Series, with both eyes looking down onto the start-finish straight and the dummy grid where the drivers have gathered, waiting, as you can see them right now, in order as the result of the qualifying practice that took place yesterday. A couple of heats already, as we said, a couple of different winners in this class, and certainly more than one contender able to fight at the forefront.
Certainly so. Morning warm-up for qualifying Heat A versus C. Saw an Aluja fastest out there, 50.179. But this man here, Danny Caronini, yesterday for Zanchi Motorsport, relatively decent day for him. P5 in his first qualifying heat, taking a win in his second as well, so certainly proving that he has got the pace. And I have to say as well that the Zanchi Motorsport team, the outfit, has got a good package here at Wackersdorf this weekend. Really good results. Now, the yellow light has started to flash on the pre-grid, indicating that we've got around 30 seconds or so before those engines will fire up. Ruben Moya starting alongside on that front row. Yesterday, tricky first qualifying heat, down to P13. Definitely recovered, though, in the second. Got that P2. Absolutely superb result, and I'm sure he will keep that momentum going over the course of today. Like we're saying, this is the penultimate round of the championship, round 3. Round 4 next, when we head to Belgium, to Karting Genk. That's where we'll crown our champions. We might crown one here this weekend. We just don't know. Let's have a look at the starting grid then. It's Danny Carinini and Ruben Moya on row number 1. Vilma Svan, who's had good results, P1 and a 2 yesterday. Kyo Lee, who took a race win as well from South Korea, starts alongside. Maxime Blanchimard and Mickey Blaskos go from row 3. Then it's Max Hitzel and Johanna Luja on row 4. Adam Rahali and Romeo Rossell, who got disqualified in his second qualifying heat, needs good results today. They start in the top 10. Manuel Wagner and Marcus Luzio, championship leader, starts this one on the 6th row of the grid. Henk Vuk and Leonardo Lagoni on row 7, ahead of Miguel Silva and Alexander Ruta on row number 8.
Row number 9, we'll see Raymond Blanc and Niklas Hirsch. Row number 10, Luis Tonmas and Karl Levart, followed by Morgan Knudsen and Suleiman Zanfari. Mark Granada and Jero van der Venvoorde follow on row 12. Row 13, Robbie Buckley, as well as Loris Sacchi, Mathieu Bouvagnier and Mathis van der Broek, row 14. Row 15, Yannick Remmert and Lutz Ozenbrink, followed by Juan Pablo Girard and Freddy Ausley. A couple of interesting names onto that grid, and some information about 2 of the competitors that we have as well, putting on a fresh set of tires. Interestingly, Marcus Luzio, who is your current championship leader, coming to Wackersdorf with 49 points, 6 points clear from Danny Carinini, who's going to be starting from pole position. Well, Marcus Luzio didn't have the best of start this weekend, a difficult qualifying, putting in 12 on the grid of his qualifying heat, some recoveries, some difficult results, but he decided already to put a second set of fresher tires for this first race of the day. Those, don't forget that those drivers have had 2 races already. As you can see, Marcus Luzio, fresh boots, all for the tires, and new tires as well for the driver at the back end of that grid. Juan Pablo Girard as well, thanks to the information sent live pretty much from the grid, thanks to Ross Apton, having both eyes wide open to anything happening here down there at the demo grid. Well, thank you for joining us once again live on Facebook, YouTube, Motorsport TV, all over the world to keep a close watch on the round 3 of the IAME Euro Series.
Here we go then into the tram lines. Lights go green for the first race of the day as they sweep in towards turn number 1. Flat out round this corner. You have to be careful as you then dive into the heavy braking zone of turn number 2. Positive camber helps you around the corner as you exit out through turn 3, down into 4, and it's still Carinini in the lead. Moya back down the inside, retakes second place as the rest of the train all follows through. There's one driver off. It's the 332 Falcon kart, unfortunately going no further at all. That's a big drama there. Now, who is that?
That's Loris Sacchi.
Yeah, Loris Sacchi, yeah, 26th place started on this race.
Yeah, he was at the back end, and fortunately, he won't go anywhere near past the opening lap. 11 laps to go through for these drivers in the senior class. There will be 8 for the juniors and 7 for the minis through the qualifying races. 1 lap completed already through that 11th turn layout of Wackersdorf, and already Danny Carinini building himself a bit of a gap in front of Ruben Moya for half a tenth of a second already. Vilma Svan down in 3rd place in front of Kyo Lee. Max Hazel was for the top 5 at the end of the opening lap. Carinini 1 win in the bag already yesterday. Wonder willing to have another one to consolidate what could be leadership in the current classification, even though Phil McLaughlin, as it stands, with 2 points, a win and a 2nd place for the Irish driver from VDK Racing, who will come into play a bit later. But Carinini needs a win. He needs to get his day starting as well on a good foot. Ruben Moya on the picture, the 203, former Winter Cup winner. And one of the contenders, obviously, as always, who needs no introduction, fighting for the win. Is currently P7 in the championship, but didn't have the best of outcome, unfortunately, in the Franciacorta the last time around. But he looks on pace as much as does Danny Carinini, as we jump on board with the Spined and Pantano Racing team at the wheel of the Pantano chassis, created by Formula 1 driver and karting legend at 100%, Giorgio Pantano, who's with us this weekend. Ruben Moya chasing for the lead. Danny Carinini into the kick right and left of the chicane in turn 7 and 8. Down to one of the most interesting spots for overtaking. And now, as I said that, fortunately for Ruben Moya, well, we have Vilma Svan making his bit on the inside. And now Ruben Moya finds himself in between Svan and Kerolé, just behind in 4th.
Yep, indeed. Well, close battles happening right at the front there, and Vilma Svan having some good results over the course of this weekend. A win earlier on, and that P2, like we explained earlier on, very, very competitive driver. The same as Kyo Lee, goes down the inside. The driver for the Eichmann's Grand Prix team makes his bid on Ruben Moya and gets through. So Moya down to P4 as Luzio sets the fastest lap of the race. To be expected, brand new set of boots on his kart. And he's making his way through the field, and he's actually P5. He's right behind this battle here on your screen. So you have to remember as well that Luzio is battling with Danny Caronini in this championship. There is no points really between them, like about 5 or 6 points between them. So they do need to be careful about where they finish in these races. So Luzio needs to really get a sharp on, which is why I think he's deployed those tyres so early on in this weekend. There he is on your screen. Luzio starting P12. Gaining those places, that fresh rubber you can see can carry more speed round turn 1, and he looks to the inside there. No drama there whatsoever, and that's pure traction because of those 4 brand new tyres. Brilliant stuff.
Brilliant stuff indeed for Marcos Luzio, who climbed 7 places from the start of the race, and now 8 to the top 4 for the driver from Premium Karting, who's been quite busy this year as well, making his debut in a single-seater back in Britain in GB3 and GB4 series. And but he's back in karting for the fun of it and to keep himself fit as well. But his return has been proved to be fruitful so far, as he's leading a championship with a victory in the back so far for Marcos Luzio, who won the opening round in Spain in Zuera, with Danny Caronini, his closest rival, as we said, with a best result, 2nd place in Franciacorta. The other win coming to Riccardo Ferrari, another interesting name in the field. On the inside goes Luzio, beautifully made on Lee. Wow, what a rhythm that is for Marcos Luzio on fresh set of tyres. Don't forget, when it comes to the seniors, they have a slight exception. They have 2 sets of tyres to use between the qualifying practice and the superheat, and they have a fresh set when it comes to the final, which is not the case for the juniors and the minis, don't forget. Which means that all those drivers have to go through 6 qualifying races in total, and this is a qualifying race number 3 for Marcos Luzio, and already a 2nd set of fresh tyres. We'll have to keep an eye on how his performance will evolve from that point on throughout the day. That's a gamble, and he's the only one in the field with Juan Pablo Girard, who's not fighting in the same group, obviously, but among the contenders and the favorites for the win, he's the only one at this point with fresher tires on, which explains his better rhythm at this point compared to the rest of his rival. As Luzio is going to go for another move, certainly is keeping the pressure on Wilmers Van, and maybe, by the look of it, the victory could be up for grab for Marcos Luzio, because Danny Caronini, currently under 4/10 of a second advantage on Wilmers Van, hasn't been able to pull off.
No, exactly. And, well, there's a change for 2nd place. Luzio down the inside of Wilmers Van, and to be expected again, just those fresh tyres working well. Yeah, Luzio needs this, as I think Maxime Blanchimont may have had a problem out on circuit. Either it's a timing issue, or he is off the track. The driver of the 297, or 295 I should say, tumbling down the order on that lap. There has been other retirements as well in this one. Miguel Silva for the Pantano Racing team has pulled it into the pit lane, into Parc Ferme. He's out of this race as well. But yeah, like we're saying, Marcos Luzio does need this. He doesn't sit inside the top 8 in the intermediate classification at the moment. His results have just not been there for Marcos Luzio after not the best qualifying, but right now he's closing that gap up to Danny Caronini, and I'm sure Caronini will be saying at this point, well, you know, it's not the end of the world. You've deployed your fresh tyres really early into the weekend. Remember, the allocation for these drivers is they get 2 sets of slick tyres to use over the weekend, and then they do get a new set for the final, purely because of the amount of qualifying heats they get through. But with this one here, Luzio, I don't think Caronini's going to fight this one at all. He can see that, you know, Luzio's closed in by such a long way. 10 positions gain. I think he'll just, if he gets past, he'll just let him pass. There's a retirement, unfortunately, into the pit lane for Maxime Blanchimont. Like we were saying, there was an issue, mechanical in nature, I'm sure, but the victory lane karting driver out of this race.
Yeah, quite unfortunate indeed for the Frenchman, as 2/10 of a second, a little bit more between Danny Caronini and Marcos Luzio. Premium Karting against Zenki Motorsport, the Italian team who's been absolutely brilliant on home soil back in Franciacorta with a win to Riccardo Ferrari, as we had as well an interesting result so far for Riccardo Ferrari. Not only Danny Caronini But the Zenki Motorsport and the Tony Kart machine that they're
Here we
using.
go.
And the pace is there, certainly for Marcus Luzio. And another one in the bag, around the inside. Beautifully made by Luzio, up in the lead. And that opened the door for Wilmers Van as well. Watch out for Chiorelli, the GP driver. Can he actually try to make his bid on the inside of struggling Danny Caronini? Certainly the Italian made his bid as well through that race. Couldn't hold on to his position sufficiently, certainly, to prevent Luzio. But Luzio on a fresher set of tires was on a different rhythm, a different planet. He needs that win. Otherwise, that would have been certainly a bet right down into the bin. But Luzio has really put on the performance and he's extending the gap. Now it's down to Danny Caronini into that final lap to try maybe to snatch second position back to Vilmos Van. Won't be an easy task at all, as it's not the most, certainly the easiest of track, I would say, Wackersdorf. As you can see, it's relatively short. It's very technical, twisty. There's a couple of overtaking spots, but they are the same for everybody. So with experience, all those drivers, especially those who have been here back in 2018 and 2019, they know how to deal with this track. And that really puts you in sometimes a very difficult position to try to make a difference in shorter races as it is right now.
Yeah, it certainly does. Well, on this final lap of the race, and Luzio looks calm and controlled here. Vilmos Van, they're in second place. I don't think it's going to have the chance to get through. Out of the final corner they go. First race of the day, and it goes to Marcus Luzio across the line. The current championship leader back on form after deploying that fresh set of tyres. But again now, how is he going to have to deal with the rest of the day, knowing that they are now relatively well used? Vilmos Van finishing in second place ahead of Danny Caronini. Chiorelli finishing in P4 ahead of Ruben Moya at the end of that one. The top five will go over the full classifications at the end, of course. With those provisional results, of course, nothing is marked in stone until any post-race penalties are applied and the field go through scrutineering. Welcome one and all from around the world. If you are joining us on the live chat, welcome. If you are watching from anywhere around the world, do let us know. You can chat to me on Instagram if you want. You can go to @Anthony_Jordan official on Instagram and you can drop me a message and tell me where you're watching from. It'd be great to hear from some people out there. There's a full look at the classifications at the end of that one. Luzio from Svan, then it is Caronini from Chiorelli, Moya from Aluja, Mickey Blaskos finishing in P7 ahead of Leonardo Lagoni, then it's Adam Rahali, Manuel Wagner, Romeo Bassel, Henk Vuk, then it's Max Hetzel, Nicholas Hers, then it's Alexander Ruta, Robbie Buckley, Suleiman Zamfari, Raymond Blanc, Carl Luthard, then it is Yannick Renmark ahead of Marc Granada, Morgan Krutzen ahead of Juan Pablo Girard, then it's Lutz Oschenbrink ahead of Louis Todt, Mathieu van der Broek finishing in 26th place ahead of Giro van Durenvoorde, who finishes in 27th place. Matteo Bougenvey finishing in 28th ahead of Freddie Housley. 3 retirements, Maxime Blanchimont, Miguel Silva and Lawrence Sash, all out of that race during the opening stages of it. Well, the first of the qualifying heats is done. Qualifying heat B versus D will be coming up soon. And we go on board with Ruben Moya. This is what they have to go through after each one of the race. Over the weighbridge, of course, any gram of weight underneath the minimum weight, and you're instantly taken out of that one. There's your race winner, Marcus Luzio. Can imagine probably happy with that result, but still maybe not fully satisfied with how the weekend is going for him. Let's take a look at the highlights from that one. See Danny Caronini just having a quick chat there with Vilmos Van, starting right behind. It was a good start for Caronini. Moya on the outside there, trying to get back around the outside. You can see slots into third place later on in that race, or on this opening lap, finding that way through and getting back up into P2. Yellow flags would come out at the back. That would be for the Falcon of Lawrence Sash, unfortunately out of the race. There was Moya's move for P2 on that opening lap. Another angle of it there, just down the inside of Vilmos Van, finding that gap and just pushing his way through. Moya, though, not able to hold on to the lead as Svan back down the inside through turn number 9. Would retake that position. Then it would be the charge of the Kuho Lee driver coming through for the Eichmann's Grand Prix racing team. Then Again, another look at this one down the inside, because this was when Marcus Luzio started to go on the attack. Just down the inside there, that fresh set of tyres being deployed. And he was just able to just pick one driver at a time, just take another one, take another one, take another one, all the way throughout that one. Another angle there through turn number 2. Well delivered, well timed. But again, he's got to be careful because he's deployed that fresh set of tyres really, really early on in the weekend. And now he's going to have to babysit that set through the whole of today. And today is a really, really long and hot day of racing. So that is going to be a big challenge. But the check flag would come out. It would go the way of Marcus Luzio. He'll be happy with that one. But again, he needs to keep those wins coming after not a great qualifying. He's outside the qualifying heats phase, and he needs those championship points to stay ahead of Danny Carinini. But Carinini, he's loving this because he's had brilliant qualifying, and he's right in that sharp position. Senior X30 qualifying heat B and D is coming up next. And, well, again, we're looking forward to this one. This is going to be a tight one for many of the drivers. Again, close in qualifying all the way throughout this one. But a really, really strong performance for all the drivers. So Sam van der Heijden fastest in his group in Group B. Group D, though, Joseph Smith. Again, really impressive drive from Joseph Smith in time qualifying. Qualifying heats for him, second in his first one. Went exactly how he wanted. Qualifying heat 2, though, for him yesterday didn't go his way, Guillaume. P30 after retirement. Yeah,
definitely not the results, the sort of result you want to get your weekend started, that's for sure. And he's not the only one on this grid who ran through some difficult results. And with a lot of penalties as well that have been given out by the officials yesterday due to certainly errors on track, but also front-fairing misplacements. And we'll get through the grid in a moment. But before that, let's hear from one of the protagonists we got a chance to talk to yesterday after his qualifying effort. He will be starting from the front row of the grid. This is Joseph Smith at the interview. Sam van der Heijden, well done to you. That was a very strong effort in qualifying P1 of your group, but you missed overall pole for 0.004 of a second. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I did make a little mistake in the chicane, but it was a very good lap. And yeah, it was a good lap and very, I said I do my lap and yeah, the engine was good, car felt good, and yeah, the lap was very good. Yeah.
There's going to be a very close battle between you and the rest of the field. Danny up there, but you very close on a track like Wackersdorf. Very fast, but still very tight. How do you expect?
Yeah, turn 1 is an exciting start, but we shall see how it goes on the first race. But yeah, I'm very excited.
So are we. Best of luck to you.
Thank you, mate.
Well, good stuff to hear there from Sam van der Heijden, starting this one on pole position again yesterday. Probably not the best results he will have wanted. P12 in his first qualifying heat. Retirement in his second, 29th. Third qualifying heat, though, was a P4 for Sam van der Heijden. So, again, the pace is there. He's got what he needs. Qualifying was good again. So, again, it's just a case of putting it all together in today's races. It is a tough challenge. He's got some really quick pilots starting all around him in the likes of Kevin Antinga right behind. David Dragan, who had good results yesterday, and Joseph Smith. Now, Group B and D, who are out in this one. Group B, yesterday, have done 3 qualifying heats, so their tyres are going to be 1 full qualifying heat worse off than the drivers starting in Group D. There is Joseph Smith on your screen. Again, second and a 30th yesterday after retirement. David Dragan starting just behind, third, and then a 31st. In his second heat with a retirement. So again, for a lot of drivers, it's been an up and down weekend. No one's been a solid performer out there. So again, it's just really going to be a tough time of what we're going to expect to see throughout the rest of the day. There is a look at what you can expect to see coming up soon. You've got the qualifying heat B and D coming up next at around 20 seconds time. Then we head to groups E and F. Then we head to the juniors and then the minis. Then we go for the second rotation of senior races for today with groups B and G, A and F, and then C and E. Back to juniors again later on. It's just a case of all of that throughout the day. Halfway through the day as well, when we finish the second rotation of Senior races. We go to the lunch break. And again, a reminder for anyone who's watching on YouTube, the broadcast will end at that point and we'll go. Right, now the karts are going, but Sem van der Heijden has not gone there. His engine has not started. Right then, let's go through the starting lineup. Sem van der Heijden, who would be starting on pole position, but is stuck on that dummy grid, will have Joseph Smith alongside. Kevin Lantinga and David Dragan go from row 2 ahead of Andy Rattel and Luca Battoni on row 3. Matthias van der Kerkhoff and Marius Barryberg round out row 4 ahead of Daniel Ginchard and Nando Weichselbaumer on row 5. They give us our top 10. Luna Claret and Eki Kalterin go from row 6. Hamza Al-Fayez and Peter Siller on row 7 ahead of Philip Svensson and Natalia Granada on row 8.
On row 9, we have Max Oceanbrick as well as Wesley de Hooy, Louis Johnson Cole and Maximiliano Raca da Silva. Row 11, Louis Comin and Auk White, Mathis Verskout and Malo Vato on row 12. Marcel Matijevic and Eric West on row 13. Nicolas Simic and Victor Kurmala on row 14. Luc Neubauer and Marco Pizzol on row 15. Row 16, Kian Garati and Luca Orsica. 32 drivers onto the track, B versus D, and once again we go through 11 laps. And the first winner of the day, Marcus Clusier, for the first time this weekend. Let's see what Sem van der Heijden will be able to do. You heard him in an interview, is more than eager certainly to make a difference here in Wackersdorf. Certainly not the name that we could have expected at the forefront in qualifying so far this season. Joseph Smith by his side, as the Victory Lane driver will try to maybe take advantage on the outside line, coming to the very fast turn number 1, where they reach about 115, 120 km/h, all the way down to the heavy braking point of turn number 2. As Joseph Smith's best result so far, a 2nd place and a 4th for Sem van der Heijden, who did have the best of run in 2 of his races, 12 and a 29 after a penalty. So Sem van der Heijden, more than ever, needs that strong result to get his day going.
Certainly does. Drivers make their way down the back straight, over the hump on the back straight there. That is exactly where the red line is. The marshals indicating that as well. The fantastic marshals here at Wackersdorf, providing the drivers with a great amount of safety there. Grid nice and slow, formed up as we head into the tram lines, as the drivers head to race director Martin Bean to get them going here. Now, Sem van der Heijden is on track there, which is good. He got it started and he's at the front. Good to see. Really slow, really bunched up here as the revs raise and the lights go green. We are away and racing, and it's not a good start there for van der Heijden. He loses lead almost immediately, but watch David Dragan round the outside. Dragan trying to go for the lead, cannot do it. He stays there and he drops down. He drops down now, and he's side by side with his teammate here, I think, of Luca Battoni, who fights his way through. One of the Pantanos running wide on the exit. That possibly could be Andy Rattel, as the rest of the field go through. Luna Claret as well, having a good race as the rest of the field make their way through. It is still Joseph Smith who leads the way. Sem van der Heijden defending for 2nd place here, and is that anything to do with the fact that that engine did not start on that dummy grid? Is he nursing a potential issue with that engine?
Yeah, we're going to have to keep an eye on that, as some of the drivers already trying to line themselves up into the last turn. Very fast turn number 11, and the carrying the momentum is important in order to take the slipstream into the fast finish straight around the inside. Dragan on van der Heijden, that's beautifully made from the Zanki Motorsport driver. As Sem van der Heijden is going to have to respond to that quite quickly, otherwise Joseph Smith will be able to pull away. That's a perfect start in opening lap for Joseph Smith indeed. From the 2nd onto the grid, 4th place for Luca in front of Mariberg. Matthias van der Kerkhoff, who definitely need a strong result as well. For him as well, the Belgian driver.
Whoa, big set.
Oh, yeah, beautifully made. And 2:43 of Luca joining his teammate up into 3rd place. Yeah, I tell you about the Zanki Motorsport drivers, really on the pace here in Germany, and once again proof that we're going to have to count with them until the end of the weekend. But for Sem van der Heijden, unfortunately, pats himself down to P4 with Barryberg. Oh, around the inside in turn number 1. Look at that from David Dragan. What a move. That's the first time that we get to see that in racing mode this weekend so far. David Dragan just put himself on the inside between the curb and Joseph Smith. There was nothing that Joseph Smith could have done to prevent that from happening. Otherwise, that could have been a contact. He's going to have to keep his head down and try to stay within reach from Dragan, but lovely move that was from the Zanki Motorsport driver.
Certainly was, using that slipstream down the 230-metre main straight to his advantage there. Now, Smith into second place is still latched onto the back of that one, but we said it earlier on, the Zanki Motorsport package, absolutely superb this weekend. Have been right on that pace, running on the Tony Kart chassis over the course of this weekend, but see what Luca Bertoni could do now. Up 3 places. Can Luca now close in as well? Sembada Heiden still there in P4. He's only dropped down 3 places. Marius Barryberg's had a good race, up 3. Currently now in P5. Marius Barryberg being plagued with bad results over the course of this weekend. P17 after a penalty in the first qualifying heat. P23 after a penalty in the second qualifying heat. So again, needs this result here. His pace is good, his pace is on it. He just needs to maintain it now. P5 for Marius Barryberg. Rattel's still there in P6 ahead of Halterin. Then it's Lantinga in 8th place. Van der Kerkhoff in 9th place ahead of Hamza Al Fayez, who rounds out the top 10. Biggest mover at the moment, Kian Geraghty, who again needs good results this weekend. Is in 21st place, and well, that's not gone well at all for the 372 on track. That's gone terribly wrong indeed. That is Marcel Matijevich for Eichmann's Grand Prix racing team, now right at the back of the field. So yeah, that is not sure what happened there, but clearly something happening on the exit of turn number 10. We go on to lap 5. And at the moment, Heikki Kalteren, fastest driver on circuit, 50.612, and purple in Sector 1. Dragan's gone purple Sector 2. That got taken away from Andy Rattel, and Kalteren can't follow that one. Now, I think there's been more drama out on circuit because tumbling down the order, Matej van der Kerkhoff and Hamza Al Fayez have crossed the line now in 25th and 26th, but van der Kerkhoff's gone to the back of the grid. I think they've had some real problems there now. There you can see Kalteren has actually deployed a fresh set of tyres on the left-hand side of his kart. So that'll be an indicator of why he's setting those fastest times. But he's pushing forward in this one. And again, using those tyres. A lot of drivers deploying, Guillaume, the fresh boots really early on in the weekend.
Yes, indeed. Heikki Kalteren is not the only one. We have Louis Comin, the young Frenchman, competing this weekend with the Renault Racing team, and he was starting from 21st on the grid, and he has a full new set of tires. Louis Comin, let's see where he stands in the classification at the moment. 12 places gain up to P11. Fresh set of tires as well for Luca Neubauer, as well as for Luca Orsica. It makes a lot of sense, even though it's quite early for day 2 for some drivers at the back end of the classification after difficult qualifying that they were not able to translate into a good result. It makes sense for them to put on fresh set or half a set to try to improve on the performance. When it comes to contenders on a higher rank onto the grid, like we've seen with Marcus Luzio or Heikki Kalteren, is one of the big boys. He's playing at the forefront, or at least he has the skills and the pace. We've seen it again, scoring podiums last season in the IAME Euro Series. And at this point, Heikki Kalteren didn't have the best of start. Oh, what happens there for the 263?
That's Natalia Granada.
Oh, that's quite a shame for the Iron Dame. Natalia Granada running into some trouble by the look of it. It's just to finish off, well, Heikki Kalteren, precious set of boots, half of it, two new tires, and he's been able to translate that into pace, climbing 5 places up to P7 as Natalia Granada. Hopefully a race won't be just ending there.
Yes, indeed. Back here at the front, and the battle for the lead not over just yet. Wesley de Goy's just received a warning flag as well, so that will not be well received. Yeah, Dragan leading the way. Joseph Smith, though, right on that rear bumper, is still piling on that pressure a little bit here. Now, remember, Smith and Dragan both have only done 2 qualifying heat races. That is why I think their pace is a little bit faster than the likes of Van der Heijden and Lantinga and Rattel. They've all done already 3 races. This is their 4th race, so the tyres are more used. That will be why. But right here, Joseph Smith really looking strong right now. Still, Van der Kerkhoff, yeah, it's a retirement. Natalia Granada, I think, has pulled it into Parc Ferme as well. Now, Matijevich still running, down in 30th place, so they definitely had a problem out on circuit. Still no change between these top two as they negotiate their way round now, heading in towards the chicane of turns 7 and 8. You don't want to run it out wide there. That big exit curb really can catch a driver out. Here's a replay of, well, that's Natalia Granada going through. Now this is what happened to Marcel Matijevich. So squeezed out wide there. And yeah, clearly not happy and a little bit of frustration there. Again, big sends down the inside all the way throughout. That is Granada. Yeah, on the inside. And I think what happens there, I think it may be just mechanical.
Yeah, we don't get to see clearly, but she was in the middle of the pack, trying to do her best, fighting her way through. But Granada, unfortunately, all the way down. So we're back with the leaders. David Dragan, Joseph Smith, split by 0.2 of a second. And Rattel, in the meantime, put down the fastest lap in the race, 50.1. Still in P5, the French driver from Pantano. As we're about to conclude this race already, heading into lap 11 very soon. And there's not a lot of time remaining on the table for Joseph Smith to try to switch those positions. He did that in the opening lap before Dragan was able to take the leading place back to with that beautiful move on the inside of turn number 1. I don't think that Joseph Smith at least won't be able to repeat that same move. He's a little bit too far, missing a little bit of pace and traction outside of the last turn. But that could be a different story for the back between Luca and Van der Eyden, the pole sitter. Certainly must feel frustrated not to have been able to translate that result. And sometimes those races, short in distance, are often built within the opening stages. Oh, a little bit wide going David Dragan just on the entry of the chicane. Look at those close shots as we are pretty much on board with those youngsters of the senior class. Just the 2 corners left for David Dragan, looking over his shoulder. You never know. We've seen dives run inside of those 2 turns before. We might see a lot of them once again throughout the day and until Sunday. But for now, that will do the job for David Dragan, taking the win for race 2 of the day. That's the first win of the weekend for David Dragan, second win, shall I say, and a 4th for Zanchi Motorsport, heading to the 2 of Danny Carinelli. So it's a 4 win for the same Italian team. David Dragan, win number 2 from Joseph Smith, Andy Rattel in 3rd place, from Sam van der Eyden, Luca Kalteren, Barry Berg, Lantinga, Kinshar, and Louis Comin, your top 10.
Well, indeed, as those drivers head back to Marc Ferme, a good result all the way throughout. Well, we'll see what happens in the latter half of the day. But David Dragan certainly will be happy with that result. Joseph Smith finishing in P2, then ahead of Andy Rattel. Sam van der Eyden ahead of Luca Bertoni, Nicky Kaltrin and Marius Barryberg. Kevin Lantinga ahead of Dan Ginchard, finishing in P9. And then it was Louis Comin finishing in P10. Peter Stiller from Luna Calais, Axel Baumer finishing in 13th place ahead of Oschenbrink, Max Oschenbrink that is. Matthias Moschauts running up top 15. Then it's Philip Svensson, Louis Johnson-Cool, Marlon Vatter, Nicholas Simic, Lucas Hochika finishing in 20th place. 12 places gained there for Hochika. Hawk White finishing in 21st place ahead of Wesley De Goey. De Goey, though, with that warning flag. Maximano De Silva finishing in 23rd place ahead of Victor Kulmana. Hamza Al-Fayez ahead of Alec Weiss, ahead of Kian Geraghty. Luke Neuenbauer ahead of Marco Pisler. And Marcel Matijevich, the 30 finishers in that race. 2 retirements, Natalia Granada and Mateusz van der Kerkhoff, unfortunately out of the race in that one. 2 of the morning races down for Senior X30. There is 1 more to go with groups E and F before we head to the junior categories next. But there, David Dragan making his way in, gets himself checked out on the scales. And the team there very quickly helping him out there. The weather conditions getting warmer as the day goes on. We're already at 23 degrees at this time in the morning, 20 past 10 local time. Let's take you through the starting highlights of that one. Initially, good getaway for Joseph Smith there, Guillaume. Breaking away, got the start, exactly what he needed at the start of that race. Yeah, definitely. So on the inside of turn number 2, as it was a pretty good getaway for everybody here into the field. As Joseph Smith would conclude that opening lap into the lead. So the driver is trying to find different racing lines in order to shape up the rest of the race. When around the inside of turn number 4 was going the 2:45 of David Dragan already building on his race. Didn't go according to plan for Sam van der Eyden, the pole sitter.
who quickly lost ground as on the inside was going to 243 of Luca Bettoni. Another strong Zenki Motorsport into that race, getting ahead of the pole sitter Van der Reyden from Cassia Racing. Then there was that move as early as lap number 2 on each side of turn number 1. The door was slightly too wide open by Joseph Smith. Unfortunately, that was enough for the Romanian to find himself onto the lead. Then a drama for the 372, unfortunately, for Marcel Matjevic, who was pushed a little bit on the outside of turn number 10. Scrappy race as well that would end prematurely, unfortunately, for Natella Granada, the Iron Dame. The Iron Dames were supposed to compete this weekend as well in Spa-Francorchamps for the GT 24 hours. Unfortunately, not able to do so. So all the support goes to Natella Granada this time around in the IAME Euro Series. Hopefully, next few races will be more successful and fruitful in terms of results. And in the end, despite a 3/10 gap and a little bit of pressure by Joseph Smith, it was enough for David Dragan to seal the deal and take his second win of the weekend so far. That's 3 wins and instead of 4. A little correction for myself. For Zenki Motorsport, 1 win for Dani Caronini and 2 for David Dragan so far.
Well, speaking of correcting ourselves, I'm going to correct myself completely about that previous race and Group D. They've actually had 3 qualifying heats. They had 3 yesterday, and that's why I think we're getting confused on the results there from David Dragan. Yes, he did have a win in his 3rd qualifying heat. He had a 31st of retirement in his 2nd qualifying heat yesterday. That's where the confusion's come from, so apologies for that, ladies and gentlemen. But we do head over to the next group. We're going to take a short break in a few moments' time. Qualifying Group E and F is coming up next.
Racing Spirit was born out of the need to create a clothing line that could embody the passion and the experience that OMP gathered and cultivated working alongside the most successful racing teams of the last 50 years. Racing Spirit garments are made by enthusiasts, for enthusiasts. They can be worn every day in leisure time, but especially on race venues, from the paddock of the hottest Formula One races to the service parks of winter rallies in all weather conditions. Racing Spirit offers a complete range of clothing and accessories for men and women, designed and developed in Italy, combining aesthetics, comfort, and functionality. Because of these features, it is the brand of choice of several prestigious motorsport outfits and organizations. Racing Spirit is the meeting point between high quality and Italian style, as well as the introduction of sustainable materials and innovations, such as the use of graphene. Racing Spirit offering comes with 4 options: cutting-edge designs and customization techniques. Lifestyle is a line of garments ideal for everyday and leisure wear, with refined style and innovative materials. Crew are custom garments of the highest quality that strengthen the visual identity of the team or organization. For instance, the choice of Skoda Motorsport and Dallara. Corporate is a full custom-designed clothing line for sizable organizations, such as Toyota Racing Development. Finally, the teamwear line for maximum creative freedom uses sublimation printing technology derived from OMP's racing experience. Similarly to the other Racing Force Group brands, Racing Spirit shares the same DNA of competing to be the first and ultimately become the reference in the market.
Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are back with the racing that is coming up very, very soon. There you can see the grid getting lined themselves up, ready to go. There on your screen, Riccardo Ferrari joining us for round 3. Great to see Riccardo Ferrari here, winner of the Franciacorta round. It was a wild card going into that weekend. This time, he is with us for the championship and currently sits 3rd in that championship after only competing in 1 round. He missed out on Zuera, the first round of the championship, but he did such a mega round at round 2. he is right there. So great to see him here. And it's a relatively decent results for him as well. P9, P5, but then an 18th after a penalty in the second qualifying heat. Has deployed fresh set of tyres on the left-hand side of the kart. So again, this is going to be an interesting one. He's got Finn McLaughlin starting alongside, who has at the moment had a qualifying heat win and a second and leads the intermediate classifications. Ola Gonzalez, who we've got a live onboard camera with for this one, who's had 2 qualifying heat wins so far this weekend, starts on the second row of the grid. We'll have Austin Gale alongside. Cahal Clark and Knud Nielsen round out row number 3 with Phil Stenger and Mattis Barb on row 4. Alex Machado and Clement Outron on row 5 ahead of Colin Wertenberger and Matteo Zanchi on row 6. And it's Otto Pukkanen and George Nassar on row 7. Fred Green and Rocco Carusio round out row number 8. And Fred Green yesterday having a second place finish in his from all the way back under the 15th spot of the grid.
So let's see what they can do this time around from 15 on the grid. Row number 9 will be Torben Grundal and Annabelle Briand. Row number 10, Alessandro Bigi and Conor Grant, followed by Luis Esser, Bertram Sach, Tommaso Curione, Clovis Nugareid, Angelo Meli, Christian Vergani, Max Carlson, Dylan Patel, Karl Schmiederer, and Emiliano Van Voorberg. I'll get it right. As we have 30 drivers onto the grid into the formation lap. This will conclude the first rotation of senior races this morning. Then we will switch to the juniors, the minis, and back to the seniors before the lunch break. Then races this morning, 14 this afternoon, 24 in total. Keep in mind as well, and that's important, if you're following us through the live stream, we have a first live stream for the morning and we'll have a second one starting just after for the afternoon. On YouTube, these are 2 different links, one after the other, very simple. Don't forget to switch from one to the other to keep following the action here at the Pokal Racing of Wackersdorf. Here's the classification as it stands. Phil McLaughlin, 2 points with 1 win for the young Irish driver from VDK, starting on the second place on that grid. Is from 2 points clear from Svan. Then we have Gale in third place in front of Danny Caronini, Weiss and Juan Aluja. That's for your top 6 at the moment. Keep in mind that this will change through the course of the qualifying races. 10 points awarded to the leader of the classification at the end of the qualifying heats. 25 for the final, 35 in total. And this is very close. Nothing is done for the chase for the title in the senior class.
Certainly isn't. Drivers making their way into the tram lines. Lights go green and we are away and racing. Good start for Riccardo Ferrari, but it's a better start for McLaughlin as he sweeps the outside line, gets the jump here. McLaughlin, Gale, Nielsen all getting through. Riccardo Ferrari has dropped down, I think, to about P6, P4 at the moment. P5 actually is back. He's fought back now as well, as he all battles his way through. It wasn't a good start from that inside row. They all struggled to get away, and I think actually Ola Gonzalez that's there in second place. The rest of the field gets through as right at the back of the field there. That's an absolutely fantastic move for Emilio Van Overberger there, who's pushed his way through. A brilliant move.
Yes, indeed it was, as the pressure is mounting right now for second place, with Ola Gonzalez, who was trying to make his bid ahead of Austin Gale as well for the battle for second. Here's a look at the gaps as we're on board with Elo Gonzalez. Austin Gale just in front of him. Can he try to make his bid on the inside of turn number 2? That's one of the most popular. Oh, and he's losing the place instead of gaining one. This is Knud Nielsen from Dam Racing. Beautifully made run inside. You see that coming, trying to fight back. Yes, he does. On board with Elo Gonzalez with his Spirit Out machine as he lost the place for the space of a few meters only before getting back into contention. Into the chicane, clipping the curb, not too aggressive to keep the momentum going. Protect his position while trying to get another one, as the 359 of Riccardo Ferrari is getting ahead of Alex Machado, taking with him Phil Strange up into P4. So it's changing left and right every lap as we're about to conclude lap number 2, that is. But Phil McLaughlin in the lead, half of a second already that the Irish driver has been building so far. Austin Gale in second. Oh, and trouble, I'm afraid, for the 400. This is Mark Schmiederer from RS Motorsport. His race coming to an end.
Yeah, that is a big shame, and yeah, not the way you want to see a driver end their first race of the day. 3 wide as they go down in towards turn number 4 on circuit. That is one of the main overtaking opportunities on the circuit, and we saw many overtakes there. You're seeing a big change of driver fields there. You see Cathal Clark there. You've got the Zanki Motorsport of Colin Werthenberger, Otto Pukkanen in there as well. This is a little higher up in the field at the moment. That is Clement Outoine battling with Matteo Zanki for Zanki Motorsports as they make their way through down in towards the final corner. So McLaughlin's broken away now at the front. Gale's there. Gonzalez, though, is going to look to the inside and says thank you very much and moves up into second place in this race. Now, has he got the pace right now to close up to Finn McLaughlin? Looking at the sector times, and that one just there, I would say probably has got the pace. Fastest up the race, 50.678. Now, how much faster was that? Well, that was 4/10 faster than Finn McLaughlin on that previous lap alone. That's absolutely astonishing pace from Eloy Gonzalez.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting run for the Spaniard. And if those two want to keep working together, well, we might see 3 or even 4 driver battle coming our way very soon. As Finn McLaughlin is leading the way.
So we'll keep an eye on this one. The gap still holding strong between the two, but the gap already down to 0.2 of a second. So Eloy Gonzalez right now really piling on the pressure here to McLaughlin. McLaughlin having the win in a second yesterday. Did catch up with him a little bit, and he was saying that, it was a silly second place that he got. He said, I let the position go. I could have had it. I could have had the win on that one, but it was one of those. So again, he's going to find himself in this situation here, and that's a big lunge from a big way back, live on board with Eloy Gonzalez, who takes the lead of this race. That is an absolutely outrageous overtake into the braking zone of turn number 9. Brilliant to see. But now that's caught McLaughlin sleeping a little bit here. McLaughlin checks over the shoulder to see what's going on behind. Can see that he has got Gale, he has got Riccardo Ferrari, who is the fastest driver now on circuit with that fresh set of tyres on the left-hand side of his kart, who now gets up into third place as Riccardo Ferrari is now on the recovery charge.
Yeah, Riccardo Ferrari that we thought for a moment we had lost in the battle for the lead. Back into a battle, certainly. He's just made his way past Austin Gale. Caught a bit napping as well. Now it's down to Phil McLaughlin to try to switch the position. He's very threatening at the moment, the Irish driver. One win under the bag. As Eloy Gonzalez now finds himself in the position of leading that race. We're going to see that again. Spot on board the Spanish driver.
Look how far back.
Yeah, a very late breaking point. And you could maybe feel for Phil McLaughlin, as you said, was caught napping a little bit. He opened the door, taking the racing line. Maybe he saw that coming. Could have been a slight touch between the two. I mean, from that perspective, it looks like that, but we may get wrong. As Eloy Gonzalez was saying, thank you, goodbye. I'm in front now. I'm the one.
And a change again.
And a change again. Phil McLaughlin losing another place to Riccardo Ferrari. Don't forget that Riccardo is on a strong pace thanks to half of a set of new tires. Fresh boost on the left side that might help him out indeed. As he's proving right now, getting ahead of Phil McLaughlin. We're going to see that again in turn number 2.
Yep.
Again, as we said, one of the certainly most popular spots for overtaking among the drivers, and it was neat and clean from Riccardo Ferrari up into P2.
Yep, indeed. No drama between the two at all. And now is going on to chase Eloy Gonzalez. So we will keep an eye on this battle as that one progresses. McLaughlin still there in third. Now, with that position change for McLaughlin, Vilma Svan would take the lead of the intermediate classifications by 1 point as Riccardo Ferrari sets another fastest lap of the race. But yeah, that certainly changes that up a little bit. There is a look at the intermediate classification on your screen. Svan from McLaughlin, Carinini from Weiss, Aluya from Gale, and Austin Gale's in this one still. He's there, P4. Any more position takes in this one, it could benefit himself even more in this race. Machado's still there just behind. Good still running for that one for the TB Kart team. One TB Kart driver, though, who has not had a good run in this race is Clement Outoine. Earlier on, a few laps ago, I saw his name tumble down the order, unfortunately, so clearly he's had dramas out on the circuit, but he's alongside his teammate and alongside here as well. Down the inside, Alex Machado takes fourth place, I should say, against Austin Gale. Gale down to P5. It's not the end of the world. They're still in contention here at the front, as again, Riccardo Ferrari is closing in on Gonzalez, but McLaughlin's found pace again. He's gone purple in sector 1 as he's going to try and re-attack. And a breakdown there. No, that's just a driver going slowly on the track. That's Louis Esser. Now, Louis Esser has actually received a technical flag in this race. And he's on track now as that Esser has come into the pit lane and has resolved that technical flag issue and has gone back out to the circuit now. But unfortunately, he's got an entire pack of karts coming up behind.
Yeah, and you can see him on the left side. He's going to have to let everybody through. That's part of the rules. You cannot get in the way of the leaders, but he just did that according to the book. Now, we're here with the 4-3. This is further back. This is Strange, Nielsen, Barbe, and Matteo Zanchi in P9. Just outside of turn number 2. Phil McLaughlin, another fastest lap in this race. Going to get as close as possible from Riccardo Ferrari. Going to keep a close watch as well on the battle for the win, because nothing is done in concrete just yet, even though time is running out. We're back here with Eloy Gonzalez. Riccardo Ferrari from Zanchi Motorsport with a different and a very interesting livery, as McLaughlin eyeing both of them just from P3. Machado Gale lost momentum in the past 2 laps, not quite able to catch up. Final lap that is, ladies and gents, and 0.3 of a second between Eloy Gonzalez and Riccardo Ferrari. He's the Pirelli racing driver on board outside of turn number 2. Try not to clip the curb too much on the inside of turn number 3. Same thing for turn number 4. The second best spot for overtaking, certainly on that race, on that racetrack. On the outside, going quite wide onto the curb to really align yourself into the right and left of the chicane. Into turn number 9. Turn number 10. This is the last part of the track, full of hairpins. A bit like Lonato. That's off guard. Quick look over the shoulder, and you could see that was interesting from Eloy Gonzalez. He was saying to Riccardo Ferrari, think about this. Do not try anything unwise. And in the end, checkered flag. Eloy Gonzalez takes the win, the first of the day for the Pirelli racing driver. And for Eloy, that's win number 2, that is.
No, 3.
Number 3, yes indeed. 2 wins yesterday. Third win for Eloy Gonzalez, my apologies. As he was saying to Riccardo Ferrari, just 1 corner to go, mate. Let's keep it real. Let's keep it together. There's no point for you to try to overtake me in the last few meters before the checkered flag. This is just still a qualifying heat. We'll see about that into the final. But they finished in that order. Eloy Gonzalez, win number 3 from Riccardo Ferrari, and Fionn McLaughlin done in P3.
Yes, indeed. Machado finishing in P4 ahead of Austin Gale. And you're probably wondering, if you're looking at the live timing, which you can view as well, if you head to the RGMMC or the IAME Euro Series website, you can see the live timing link. You can click on that and you can see all the live timing available to you, which includes the qualifying heats. Probably wondering, why does Eloy Gonzalez not sit within the top 8, despite the fact that he's had 3 qualifying heat wins? Out of 4, though. One of those races was P19 after a post-race penalty. That is why he doesn't sit within the top 8, but he sits just outside it, I suspect, probably about 9th or 10th in that order. There's a look then at the full results at the end of that one. Like we were saying, the top 5. Matis Barb finishing in P6 ahead of Knut Nielsen. Matteo Zanchi ahead of Cathal Clark. Phil Strenger finishing in P10 ahead of Fred Green. Then it's Otto Pukkanen ahead of Connor Grant. Rocco Caruccio ahead of Colin Wertenberger, finishing in P15. Clovis Duguay ahead of George Nassar. Bertram Sash ahead of Turben Gurundal, who finishes in 19th place. Tommaso Gorioni finishing in 20th. So let's have a look at the highlights from that one. Riccardo Ferrari not getting the getaway, and I think getting squeezed a little bit there as it kind of pinch pointed into that second of the kinks before they get towards turn number 1. Yeah, just getting swamped back, so not able to get the temperature into those tyres in the early stages. Certainly came back in that race, did Riccardo Ferrari. Here's on board with Eloy Gonzalez, who started just behind. This might give us a really good show of actually what happened there. Yeah, getting squeezed onto that grass, and Eloy Gonzalez not giving any space there, just saying, I want to gain position here. And a little bit of contact there as well on the exit.
Yeah, interesting on-board view, as Eloy Gonzalez was able to keep it real onto the track before being overtaken by Gale, Austin Gale, who had a good start to his race before finishing down to P5. It was here that Eloy Gonzalez started his climb up to P1 in the end of this race, around the inside of turn number 4. As we've seen overtaking aplenty, especially turn number 2, turn number 9 as well, a little bit in turn number 4, as we haven't seen yet turn number 1, just on one occasion earlier, as we're on the inside, and as I said that's the second time that we get to see Elon Gonzalez, a driver, getting around the inside of turn number 1, and Elon Gonzalez just did that, beautifully made for P2, chasing Fionn McLaughlin, who at this point on lap number 4 out of 11 was still the leader of this qualifying race. Before that moment, the move, very late braking, the door was slightly open, it was enough for Elon Gonzalez to sneak himself on the inside, saying thank you as he goes by. We thought for a moment that Fionn McLaughlin would have the pace just to switch positions, but it wasn't the case afterwards with Gallo Ferrari in just a few moments making his way through. There he is, the Italian, first on Austin Gale, OP3, before he would keep on attacking and making the same move on Fionn McLaughlin one lap later. And that will be the end of his run though. Elon Gonzalez was next, but he would have missed one tiny tenth of a second, as at the back as well we had Alex Machado making his way past Austin Gale again on the same corner. Gale, who at some point was fighting for the win before tumbling down to P5. And in the end, it was enough for Elon Gonzalez to take win number 3 out of 4. But as you said, Anthony, is nowhere to be seen within the top 8 due to a P19 finish yesterday. So still a lot of work to be done. But so far, so good for Elon Gonzalez, who we're going to have to include in the circles of top favorites in the battle for the win later on this weekend. It's such a shame that he had a difficult yesterday, otherwise he would be leading the overall provisional classification of the senior class. We're going to put the seniors aside for a moment, and for the first time, ladies and gents, we're going to have the pleasure of following the juniors and the mini for the first time on track this weekend. 2 races to start with the juniors, 2 for the minis, then back to the seniors, sorry. And then we will see those 2 classes once again through the afternoon, as the juniors and the mini have to go through 3 qualifying races each to get themselves a ticket on the way to the Superheat and the final on Sunday afternoon. So the first race coming up in the junior class, we'll see the groups A versus B. 3 minutes on the clock before we get going.
There is Harrison Mackie on your screen with brother Lewis Mackie alongside on the spanners ready for this one. Harrison Mackie, absolutely superb qualifying session for him. He was about 2 tenths faster than any other driver out in the session. And, well, it was a purple sectors in all 3 sectors on the lap. It was not a purple 1 or a purple 3. All 3 absolutely perfect. And we caught up with him after that session. Here's what he had to say.
Harrison Mackie, well done to you. In Wackersdorf, this is your 2nd pole of the year in the IAME Euro Series. How does that feel?
Well, it's great. It's great that we're showing great performance this year so far, and I hope to keep it for the rest of the year as well.
How did it go actually in the qualifying? Because the track is narrow, technical, the gaps are tight as well, competition is high.
It's definitely now, I like this track. It's got the long straight, but it's loads of corners as well, so I think it's going to be great for the racing as well.
With 1 pole in the bag, still races to come this weekend, but feeling confident?
Yeah, I think if we can do the same as French Quarter, I'll do my best to do that, but we've got to just see how it goes, and obviously the main one's the final, so we'll wait till then.
Good stuff. Best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Well, great to hear from Harrison Mackie. Starting this one on the front row of the grid, we'll have the close company of Didier Krief starting alongside. There is Didier Krief on another one of the Fusion karts there for Fusion Motorsport. But again, getting themselves ready. Fusion really having a great showing here, because you can see they're just behind Didier Krief, the stick maker, on another one of the Fusion karts, just putting himself on. So, championship standings for this one. The closest championship we've seen at this stage of a season. 1 point separates the top 2, and that top 2 is Harrison Mackie and Tig Buckley. Buckley starting this one right behind Harrison Mackie. So, again, that's going to be an interesting one. There you can see the hard-working marshals out on the circuit on all of the points. Again, we say it at every single race weekend we go to. We could not go racing without that hard-working marshalling team who makes sure the drivers stay nice and safe out on the circuit. There on your screen for the Mick Barrett Racing Team, Tig Buckley from Ireland, starting this one on the 2nd row of the grid. His championship rival is right there. Harrison Mackie in front of him. Obviously, right now, there are no championship points up for grabs for this very race. But after all the qualifying heats they have over the course of today, there are championship points up for grabs. And quite literally, 1 point will make the difference between who leads and who doesn't. So that's going to make it very interesting. Right then, engines get fired up. Let's see through the starting lineup then for the first junior X30 heat of the day. Harrison Mackie and Didier Krief starting on row number 1. Tyke Butley and Stig de Rademaker on row 2 ahead of Alex Pinera and Elvis Karakowskis on row number 3. Jos Mulder and Niels Malik round out row 4 ahead of Aston Sharp and Katrina E on row 5. Angelina Simmons and Moritz Moore who round out row number 6.
Row number 7, we'll see Louis Basire and Andrea Galimberti. Then you have David Minchuna and Nat Johnstone, followed by Evan Purcell and Daniel Oliver Sanchez, Sarah Eifer and Bruno Matrullo, row number 10, followed by Riley Cranham. We have Noah Nolken and Jung Rana. A total of 23 drivers onto the track in this junior category. We have a total of 48 drivers between 12 and 14 years of age competing this weekend in the Wackersdorf. And as you can see, the conditions are absolutely fantastic with blue skies, the sun high as well above our heads. The temperatures as much, 25 degrees already, as it's only a quarter to 11 local time here in Germany. Yesterday was hot, a little bit of rain as well at some point into one of the qualifying races. We had to put out the red flag, unfortunately, with 2 laps from the finish due to those difficult conditions. It was pouring rain for just a few minutes, and then the track was drying out in a matter of seconds, and it put some drivers and the mechanics into some sort of discomfort, that's for sure. So far, so good, and in terms of temperatures and weather conditions, we should be absolutely on point throughout the day. Tomorrow, it might be another story when we're not there yet. A lot of qualifying races to go through. As you can see, all eyes are very much onto the track with a lot of cameras surrounding the circuit. With Joanna Falcao, Sarah Blanco, and Michael Redin, our trio of race control personnel on the backside of the track. And these are the ones responsible for everything that's happening on track, making decisions, and sometimes giving out the harsh penalties to some drivers who deserve it.
Exactly that. Formation is over and the race has started. The first Junior X30 race of the weekend, and it's a brilliant start for that inside row. It is Mackie and Buckley who break away at the front as the field all scrabble for positions. There's a victory lane up on 2 wheels there in the background. That might have been Louis Brazet, unfortunately, who was lost out in that race, but we'll find out who tumbles down the order. There's more dramas as well. I think Katrina E may have had an issue out there. Lois Brazet as well, and Andrea Galimberti also having issues on circuit. But I think the driver's managing to get going as well. Back at the front here, Mackie leads the way. There is Buckley, who's there in second place. And, well, I don't see any more fusions in that area. Now that is the 100. That is Katrina E, who's in front of this pack now. So I'm not sure how she got there, but she's going to have to get right out of the way here because she's not in the lead of that race. She has missed out on half the circuit. I'm not sure how she's done that. She must have gone across the track there at the exit of turn 2.
Or maybe a late start for Katrina Hay. We didn't get to see that clearly. Maybe a replay might help us out, but as a result, as you said, she's having to let everybody through and take her place back at the back end of the grid. So it won't be the easiest of race, unfortunately for her, as she was starting from P10 on the grid. In the meantime, Tyke Butley has run inside, goes the 21 of Harrison Mackie, 27, my apologies, of Jos Mulder on Harrison Mackie for P2. Watch out for the battle with the Fusion drivers as well, very much in the mix. Not only Harrison Mackie, but also Didier Krief was one of the fastest in yesterday's qualifying. Didier Krief going around the inside into the last turn and making his bit ahead of Pinera. Beautifully made for Krief, just behind his teammate, and he keeps on going. Harrison Mackie this time around as Didier Krief is being investigated. Oh, that's certainly no good news for him as he just pulled a beautiful move. He's about to lose the place once again to Alex Pinera-Rizinol, who takes the positions back into P4 as Harrison Mackie, another driver with the inside line taken in turn number 1 up into P3. And trying to do the same to Jos Mulder into second place. Watch out for the driver with the green crush helmet, not quite able to hold on to that position. Harrison Mackie back into second.
Yep, nice move there. But now, okay, they've decided, right, okay, fine, you lead it. you try and push away because Buckley's broken away at this point. Alex Pineda is trying to fight back as well, down the inside through the final corner, and he does get through. A little bit of jostling there between the two of them, and absolutely wheel to wheel here. Didier Kreeft and Jos Mulder here, and Kreeft is going to get the advantage. So does Aston Sharp. Angelina Simmons gets through as well, as the entire field is all closed up here. Elvis Krakowski is still there. Riley Cranham has gained 12 positions in this race and is right there in this battle that we're watching right now. He's at the back of that battle, but he's still in it. Stig de Rademacher is there as well in P10. He's not had the best getaway in this one. Louis Bazouay, fastest driver on the circuit, who is, tumbled down the order just a little bit at this point. But pushing his way through. He's currently in P21 in this race at the start of that race. I don't think it's gone well there for Nilis Malik. He's just tumbled down the order as well as he drops down to 21st place. So I think he's had an issue out on circuit for the George Gibbons Motorsport driver. Back here at the sharp end of the stick, it's still Buckley who leads Maki Pineda. Then this battle here, 4th place downwards, it is Aston Sharp, Didier Kreeft and Angelina Simmons. Simmons right behind there on the MDC. MDC with a brand new livery this weekend. It's white and fluorescent yellow, as down the inside, Didier Kreeft says thank you very much to Aston Sharp and moves up into P4. That brings in Krakauskas, it brings in Stig de Rademacher, it brings in Cranham as well. So a nice big battle happening here for P4 as Pineda now sets the fastest lap of the race. Simmons down the inside and gets past Sharp as well. Sharp now on the back foot, having to deal with the likes of now Krakowskis, who's trying to go for the move.
Yep.
Krakowskis also under pressure from the number 14 of Stig de Rademacher as well.
And Krakowskis just went through outside of turn number 10. And number 20 on your picture. Being surrounded by a sea of drivers. He's going to try to go for the move. Krakowskis on Sharp. Watch out for the braking point in turn number 2. Oh, there's pretty much no space at all. And contact, I'm afraid. Unfortunately, as Sharp was the biggest victim of this incident by the look of it. Wasn't able to hold on to that position, and it keeps on banging wheels on the inside of turn number 4. Unfortunately for Sharp, tumbling down all the way to P10 as a result of that slight incident. We might need to see that again in the replays afterwards, but it was a rather aggressive move. That's the way to do it sometimes, just to force your way through. There was pretty much no space between Sharp and the curb, but still, Simon Torres, Krakowskis, Cranham, De Rademacher, Mulder, all those drivers just went through, taking advantage of that gap that just opened up on the outside of turn number 2. We'll get back to that. In the meantime, here's the battle for the lead and potentially the win, with Arsene Maki taking the lead almost as the switch of position is realized by Tide Berkeley. Beautiful battle between those two. Don't forget, there's not only the battle for the win in the qualifying race, there's only the battle for the overall title this year in the IAME Euro Series. 1 point between the two at the advantage of Arsene Maki. There's pretty much nothing between those two young contenders. And Arsene Maki responds once again. Tide Berkeley in turn number 9. Again, clean. And watch out for Pinera as well. He's going to be the third driver into that battle. He sees the opportunity, run inside of Tide Berkeley. Maki is shutting the door just before that right-hander. That's very fast an entry. And he might lose actually momentum doing that, Arsene Maki, and finds himself under the pressure of not one, not two, but 3 drivers, with Didier Kreeft as well in the mix.
Yes, indeed. It's a 4-car battle for the race lead here as everyone tries to hold on for their positions. It's Maki, Buckley, Pineda and Kreeft currently in that order. Kreeft is looking like the strongest one here. He currently sits in P4, trying to find his way past, but not able to do so. Maki still holds on to the lead. Buckley is trying to push himself forward here, but is just not finding the gap, is not finding the exit speed that he needs right now. But Didier Kreeft is right on the rear bumper, but he says there, don't go for the move. And, well, Pineda goes defensive. Now, Kreeft was trying to say there to him, right, keep going, don't defend on this final lap. I'm not going to go for it. Again, he's employing there, Pineda. Just go. But he's not going to listen. Maki, though, exits out of the final corner. First win of the weekend. And it goes to the Britain and the championship leader, Harrison Maki and Tig Buckley. Well, I think this weekend is going to be a story of 2 tales here between the two of them. Maki ahead of Buckley at the end of that one today. A superb end to their first race. Plenty more races for them to go. But Maki, I'm sure, will be delighted with that one. Certainly wasn't just a walk in the park for him. Fell back, dropped back at that point, but really, really pushed hard in that race. Buckley finishing in second place ahead of Alex Pineda. Pineda gaining 2 positions in that race. A superb performance there for the young Spaniard ahead of Didier Kreeft. Angelina Simmons finishing in P5, 6 places gained. Brilliant race ahead of Elvis Karakauskis in P6. Then it was the impressive drive from Riley Cranham. 14 places gained to finish in P7 ahead of Stig de Redemaker, Aston Sharp, Jus Mulder, David Minchuna, Evan Purcell, Nat Johnson, Daniel, Oliver Sanchez, and Sarah Iffert rounding out the top 15. Moritz Moore ahead of Jugrana, Noah Nolkin from Louis Brasserie. Then it was Bruno Matrulio ahead of Nilis Malik and Andrea Galimberti finishing in 22nd place. Katrina E unfortunately retired at the end of that one, knowing that, well, let's save those tyres. Let's come back stronger in the next one, maybe work out better in that. There is your race winner, though, Harrison Mackie, and a fantastic win there, but certainly had to work hard on that one, Gil.
Yeah, certainly. It was a difficult battle, and one tiny tenth of a second on the line between Harrison Mackie and Tide Buckley. Let's see that once again. Is a replay of the start. It was a good getaway indeed from Harrison Mackie. Tide Buckley just on his tail. A couple of the drivers as well from Fusion Motorsport trying to make their way around. Didi Kreeft as well. Trying to find the best racing line into turn number 2. It was a good getaway for pretty much everybody. Here, some of the drivers tumbling down a little bit onto the grass on the left side of your picture, as he had a pretty strong start. He would prove it until the end from Alex Pinheira with the Gilead chassis. It's not very often that we get to see this historic brand in the history of karting back on track. Gilead, always nice to see different colors as well. And the Gilead chassis has been on top of performance so far this weekend. Lap number 2, as around the inside went just Mulder. And he had a pretty good start to his race, the Victory Lane driver, before tumbling down the order. Another strong move from Just on the 21 of Harrison Mackie. It was before the British driver would switch position and start its charge up in the front. Just Mulder was in the mix, but he would see the checkered flag only in P10. That's the moment when they switch position at least. Just Mulder taking the positions from Harrison Mackie. Didi Kreeft on the outside of the Spaniard Alex Pinheira. And then it was really certainly moving left and right. Mackie back in contention, up to P2, just Mulder gesturing to him. Let's keep going, I'm gonna work with you. Let's try to catch the leader, Tide Buckley at the time, as some of them were trying as well to overtake in the last corner, the very fast right-hander, so crucial for the momentum into the fast finish straight. Halfway through, as the gaps were stabilizing just a little bit, as the 66 was making his way through. Aston Sharp finding his way, he would finish down in P9. So on the inside, another of the Fusion strong performance. It was the number 35, wasn't it, making his bid. Didi Kreeft indeed would finish down into P4.
Yes, indeed. Well, that was only at the halfway point of the race as well, and Aston Sharp really started to get involved at this stage of the race. The same as, well, all the drivers behind as well. Jus Mulder and finishing there just behind as well, who was fighting right at the front in the early stages. There was Sharp going wide. There is Jus Mulder as well, who had tucked in just behind on that one, really pushing each other forward through that stage. Then this was the first attack for the lead change. Mackie down the inside through turn 2, out-braking himself. Buckley able to fight back. Then again, down the inside through turn at number 9. And this time around, getting it signed, sealed and done. Pineda right behind, running slightly wide there, kicking up the dust. Now see Pineda's line here, taking the normal racing line, trying to get the switch back on Buckley, and even tried it on Mackie. That's why Mackie went defensive. It wasn't to defend from Buckley, it was the attack from Pineda. It was absolutely brilliant start. That brought in the likes of Didier Kreeft, who was able to close in, and Kreeft looking really strong at the end of that one. But it would go the way of Harrison Mackie, ahead of his championship rival Tide Buckley. Like we were saying, 1 championship point separates those 2 drivers into this weekend. And that's all going to boil down when we head to Genk for the final round. We're going to take a short break. Don't go anywhere. The second of the qualifying heats for X30 Junior will be coming up next. Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to round 3 of the IAME Euro Series 2024. We are live here under the sunshine at Wackersdorf in Germany. And, well, we're smashing through these qualifying heats in the morning phase of the day. 3 senior races down already, plus 1 junior. And the second junior race is about to take to the track. There you can see qualifying heat C versus D lined up, ready to go in this one. Harrison Mackie just taking the win in that previous race, puts himself in a really good position in that championship fight as he leads it from 1 point ahead of Tyke Butley, who finished that race P2. So again, that's going to be a close championship fight all the way to the end, I'm sure. But qualifying heat C versus D on this one. Benjamin Magnac starting this one on pole position. We'll have Federico Sbardelli starting alongside. There is Benjamin Magnac from Spain on the Burilat chassis there, getting himself ready to go for this one. Tense time for a lot of these drivers. And there you can see, actually, the Swiss Quote logo just on his visor there as well. So Swiss Quote, one of the new partners to RGMMC here this weekend. And if you do want to go see the Swiss Quote team as well, they are here in the paddock. You can go find them right next to the RGMMC awning. They're under there and have a quick chat about investment banking as well. So get involved in that one. There is our race director, Martin Bean, watching over the proceedings, getting ready to go. And he's enjoying a nice bit of sunshine here. He hails from the land of Dubai, so he's used to warm conditions. I'm surprised he's not in a coat at the moment, because usually he complains that it's always too cold, despite the fact that it's in its mid-30s. But there we go. We'll see on that one. Not long now to go until this race. But technically, tense time for, I think, these juniors here now, Guillaume. You know, a lot of things have gone on this season. It's been a really close championship fight as well. The closest that we have seen in many years at this stage of the weekend, at this stage of a season. You know, when we head into a final round, usually, you know, let's put it into this way. Last year, going into the final round at Genk, we didn't have a championship fight in Junior X30 because it was your man Freddie Lloyd who had already won, and he didn't even take part in that round, so he didn't even need to do it. So again, seeing this one this time around, much, much nicer field. Right then, let's take you through the starting lineup. Benjamin Magnac starting on the front row of the grid. We'll have Federico Sbardelli alongside Nikita Nikishov and Zach Green going from row number 2. Toby Gale and Felipe Rice going from row 3. Then it's Quintin van Llewellyn and Senna Meunier on row 4. Archie Owen and Constantine Titzer going from row 5, with Matteo Melis and Rock Pineda on row number 6.
Row 7, we'll see John Elder and Jacob Bachelor, followed by Emiliano Byrne, Carina Rebondo de Blas, Arthur Donker, Chi Cao Cheng, Ben Gotz and Matteo Peruccio on row 10, row 11, Julian Bubb and Maxi Egner. 22 drivers in total into the formation lap. And as you can see, Harrison Mackie with 1 win in the bag, leading the classification. This will obviously evolve. But let's keep an eye on Benjamin Magnac, because since the start of this year's championship, Benjamin Magnac was able to take a win already in the final on home soil at the opening round in Zuera. It has been an up-and-down season for Benjamin Magnac since he came out of Franciacorta with no points at all. So disastrous round 2 in Italy for Benjamin Magnac, unlike what happened in Spain. So let's see if he's going to be able to get back on his feet and translate his performance in qualifying. He was the first fastest overall into winning results. 3 races to go through for each of those drivers in the junior class. It starts right now for Benjamin Magnac, who still is in P5 in the championship. Still a long way down from Harrison Mackie, our current leader, at 51 points. 50 points for Tyke Butley and 30 for Benjamin Magnac from P5. So nothing is done yet when it comes to the championship battle. And that starts now for Benjamin Magnac, as we're on board with Toby Gale, number 23, who will be starting from 5th on the grid on the inside, just behind not only Magnac, but Nikita Nikishov as well. Let's see what he can do on the way to turn number 1, and especially the breaking point in turn number 2.
Exactly that. Well, drivers get themselves formed up nice and cleanly. So it looks like we're good for a start first time of asking. There you can see everyone, well, crowding the podium there to try and get a good view of the racing that you're going to see here. In the sunshine, lights go green, and we are racing. Great start from Magnac on that inside row, but keep an eye on Sbardelli. He gets swamped into the pack. Sbardelli's going to tumble down the order just a little bit. The inside row works better. Nikita Nikishov there into second place. Gale's on the outside. outside. He's going to get squeezed down into around P4, P5 as Zach Green looks down the inside. Green's not had the best getaway as well as he got caught behind Swardelity. So it is at the moment Magnac who leads away from Nikita Nikishov, and that looks to me like that may be Quinten van Leeuwen on the Falcon kart that's there in third place.
Yeah, brilliant start from the Falcon driver. As run inside goes the 52 of Federico Sbarbellati. Beautifully made. Can he hold on to that position into the next corner?
No, he can't.
He can. The 62 of Nikita Nikishov is back into P2. Well, that was a good try. As the 23, Tommy Gale on board, run into the last sector on the inside of the Falcon rival. The 54 on the left side of your picture. That's going to be a close call. Quinten van Leeuwen resisting and keeping that position alive as Benjamin Manak is closing on the opening lap, 7/10 of a second. As on the inside, a beautiful battle with the 114 squeezing in. It was Archie Owen squeezing Senamoni by the look of it on the outside of turn number 2. I'm gonna have to get back to that as we have the 23 into the mix. Toby Gale, yes indeed, trying to climb back the field after losing a bit of momentum. 3 places down. He's currently behind one of the fusions, the 25, John Elder, as well as Archie Owen, who's losing a place. Archie Owen switching back already. Oh, and pushing his opponent slightly onto the grass. But the Fusion driver was able to hold on and lose a place while doing so. That's a hectic start of a race.
A very hectic start there, but thankfully all of them on the circuit. Back here with the top 3. Magnac still leads the way ahead of Nikita Nikishov. Swardelity has listened, I think, to Nikishov on that one and has just said, right, okay, I'm not going to keep attacking you here if you've got the pace. That's the ultimate question. The gap is 0.4 of a second, and, well, confirmation there. Nikita Nikishov, fastest lap of the race, has got the pace here to try and close down Benjamin Manak in the lead. So we'll keep an eye on that as that progresses. Green still there in P4 ahead of Quinten van Leeuwen, who's up 2 places. Biggest mover in this race, well, there's a couple of them. Artur Didonka is 1, Jorn Helder is another, and a little further down in the order as well, Julian Bubb also 6 places gain. Felipe Rice has not had a good start in this race, has tumbled to P20, has dropped down 4 places. There, a look at the intermediate classifications. Obviously very basic at the moment. That's what you expect. Mackie with the win and Magnac at the moment leading, but by only 0.3 of a second. Green and Quinten van Leeuwen here, I reckon they're closing in on the 2 ahead here. I think we could have a 5-car battle for the race lead here, Guillaume.
Fastest lap for Zach Green, taking Quinten van Leeuwen, indeed closing in on the top 3. That's going to be an interesting one. As you can see, they're not attacking each other. They are really trying to work together as the gap with Federico Sbarbellati is at the moment slightly decreasing. We're going to have a close look.
Race control was chicane 70 took the track.
Wow, there, 7-0, cutting the track there, and that is Emilio Burns. So Burns going to have to be careful. You can't do that too many times. So, yeah, race control, keeping a very close eye on it. Right, this is closed in right now. Magnac is under immense pressure from Nikita Nikishov. Nikishov right on that rear bumper has actually dropped Swardelity just behind, who's going to fall into the clutches of Zach Green, who's closed in, who himself has dropped Quinten van Leeuwen. So now we're going to have 2 groups of 2 trying to go for the lead on this one as Green retakes that fastest lap of the race, 51.113. No change here just yet. Magnac not going defensive. Nikita Nikishov not attacking. Now, is that because he knows that he's got the likes of Swardelity and Green behind, and if he goes to the attack, they will be right there and we'll have 4-cut battle for the lead with half race distance to go? Or is he just struggling to find the pace on this one? Like I say, Magnac's not going defensive. He's leaving the door open into every corner. There's an advantage here for Nikita Nikishov to go for the move, but he's choosing not to, and that, at the moment, I think is a strange one, because Swardelity and Green, who have closed up together, are closing in. There comes Green, down the inside, change for 3rd place.
And Zach Green certainly was feeling that the moment was right for him to make the move, and he did in turn number 4. Green up into P3. Sbarbellati down into P4. Quinten van Leeuwen wasn't able to make the move as well. And for a moment, Zach Green and van Leeuwen were working together towards the same objective. But van Leeuwen dropping a bit of momentum, half of a second behind the Falcon driver. And would have he stayed just behind Zach Green, maybe he would have been able to imitate the move and get a place up in the classification. It's not the case, unfortunately. Lap number 7, that is. of that 8-lap race. A short distance for the juniors here in Wackersdorf, as Benjamin Manak is holding on to that position, and the immense pressure from Nikishov as well. Nikita Nikishov on the inside. There's the moment we had been expecting for the past few laps, and the lead has changed hands. Nikita Nikishov, up in the lead with the Czech Republic machine from Drake, Spain. But now the question is, can Benjamin Manak still has a little something to this race?
Yes,
to switch
he can.
positions into turn number 9, position switch, and again the ballet of racing drivers incarnate. Beautiful battle. Watch out from Zach Green as well. He wants a part of that race. He wants a part in the battle as well. He was very close on getting ahead of Nikita Nikishov in turn number 10. It's not happening quite yet, and we could see as well Sbardelati closing in for a 4-driver battle into that last lap.
Yes, indeed. Right, 2 different racing lines here. Nikita Nikishov trying to go for the inside move. Watch Green on the outside here. He's going to get the long way round. He gets squeezed out wide, and he stays there. Sbardelati still in P4. Now looks to the inside as all the carts hug that inside line as they make their way out of turns 4 in through 5 and 6. Through the chicane they will go now, and there is no change. It's still Magnac from Nikita Nikishov, Green from Sbardelati. Quinten van der Wellen's closed in as well in the Falcon. There's a change, or just a defensive line from Sbardelati. Yes, it was. Now Green to the outside again. He's going to try and get the switch back here on Nikita Nikishov. He is going to try and try. He gets squeezed. Has he got the inside line? Yes, he does. Now that released Magnac. Magnac will take the win, but it's a switch over on the exit. It's Magnac who wins out of Nikita Nikishov. Then it's Sbardelati. Then it is Zach Green. So it's Magnac, Nikishov, Sbardelati, Green, Gale, then Quinten van der Wellen, Melis from Didonka, Helder from Owen, the top 10. A dramatic and drastic first race of the day for qualifying seats C and D.
Copy, and no advantage 7-0, so no further action.
Right, confirmation there. Emilio Byrne, well, he can probably say, phew, that's all right. No advantage there for cutting the track. So I think he's gotten away with that one. But like you say, skin of his teeth. There's a look at the classification at the end of that one. Provisional, of course, have gone over the top 10. Konstantin Titzer finishing in 11th place ahead of Senna Minier. Then it's Emilio Byrne, who's just got away with the lucky one there ahead of Ben Gotts, and Rock Pineda rounding out the top 15. All gaining some positions in that one. Jeka Bachelor finishing ahead of Felipe Rice. Rice not having the best result in that one, finishing P17. Xi Zhaozhen finishing in 18th place ahead of Julian Bubb. Then it is Matteo Paruccio ahead of Max Egner. Then Carolina Redondo finishing in 22nd place. A very dramatic end to that race there, Guillaume.
Yeah, I like that. I think we all did. It was a beautiful battle. I mean, not just one, but plenty throughout the field of the junior class here, C versus D. But in the end, it can only be one winner. And Benjamin Manak did the job with the congratulations from his mechanic from Birellat Racing. As this is win number 1 for Benjamin Manak this weekend in Wackersdorf. 1.2 seconds from Nikita Nikishov, as the rest of the field was busy battling for the left crops of the cake. Well, Benjamin Manak did the job, starting from a good start and get away from pole position around the inside of turn number 1, as it was a bit scrappy just behind some of the contenders into the field, as Nikishov had a good start as well, up into P2, taking the inside line just behind the pole sitter Benjamin Manak, as we were riding on board Toby Gale, who was being stuck just behind the number 62, Nikita Nikishov, trying to go around the inside of Zach Green, and that move would slightly work around the outside on the next turn to the left, but it wasn't in the easiest of position and lost the place to Quinten van Leeuwen, and furthermore as well, but it's always one of those hectic moments into the opening laps. The 68 making his way through as well. It was Zach Green this time around, converting his position. But in the end, Toby Gale would finish P5 of this race after this start. We're back here on board, as Quinten van Leeuwen was in front, Zach Green as well. It was the end of the opening lap, as Toby Gale was trying to make his bid run the inside of that very fast right-hander. And would he manage to do so? Not quite. The momentum wasn't on his side. Then back into the trail try to have a bit of extra pace. We're here with the number 25. Making his way through, John Helder from Fusion Motorsport, being squeezed a little bit by the 114 of Archie Owen, one of the early battles that didn't go according to plan from the vision of Toby Gale. That's an interesting point of view, and you can see indeed Owen was taking the place on the left, but squeezing a little bit his opponent. And yes, thank you indeed, and have a good day. On the inside, taking two at the same time, Toby Gale, a beautiful move that would finish in P5.
Yeah, indeed. There's the outside view of that overtake. And yeah, I think very happy with that one on the second lap of the race. This was Green getting the move done onto Ardelity. This was nearing the end of the race. It was all calm all the way up until that point. Then Nikita Nikishov going for that lead change down the inside, got the move done. We thought that was it. Then Magnac retaliated through turn number 9. Straight back down the inside, and again, side-by-side, wheel-to-wheel action between the two of them. Green had closed in, and that's, I think, where Nikita Nikishov just had to say, right, okay, I've got to close the door here. I've got to close the door. Can't allow him to get through. This was Gale back on board right at the end of that race, the onboard view right to the end, and you can see everyone tucked in. Green just having to settle there for 4th place, because you can see Magnac ahead. Well, was leading by 1.2 seconds at the end of that one, despite the fact he was wheel-to-wheel with Nikita Nikishov just a few corners prior to that. It just shows the speed difference when you're defending versus when you can take the normal racing line out there. Well, that brings us to the end of the first rotation of Junior X30 races. The minis are coming up next, due to start in around 5 minutes' time with their first race, A versus B. Reminder of the intermediate classifications, of course, for the juniors. Mackie and Magnac leading that one at the moment. 0 points to their name, ahead of Buckley and Nikishov, both of them second place to Ardelity and Pineda. Alex Pineda, that is, in 5th and 6th with Zach Green and Angelina Simmons. There's a look at the rest of the day all the way throughout. And again, another reminder for anyone who is watching on YouTube only. If you're watching on Facebook or in motorsport.tv, don't you worry about this. But for anyone watching on YouTube, it is a double stream today, so it will stop after the lunch break. And then after the lunch break, a brand new stream, and then for the second half of the day. So do not forget about that. Guillaume, so far, the juniors, I think, good controlled racing there. Exciting racing as well. They're giving us some really good battles there in the latter stages of the races, aren't they?
Yeah, as usual in the junior category. Not to, of course, talking bad about the seniors as well, but you could feel through the first few races yesterday and today as well that there's sometimes a bit more maturity in the way that some of those races are handled. And the juniors, it was the first of the 3 for them. For those 2 groups that we had, and a lot of excitement, a lot of imprecision sometimes, but that's what we like to see as neutral viewers. Action on track, overtaking at every lap, every corner, as many as possible. So please, some more towards the rest of the day. And talking about action, well, stay with us because the Mini are up next, the X30 Mini category, with the drivers between 8 and 12 years of age, as the first confrontation will be coming soon between the Group A and the Group B. As for the juniors, 3 races to go through for the competitors of the mini category in order for them to qualify as high as possible on the grids coming to the superheats on Sunday morning. And then the final, where only 36 will get to compete. And at the start of this weekend, we have 46 drivers. So keep in mind that pretty much 10 of them won't get a chance to align themselves for the final race on Sunday afternoon. But we still have a long way before that. And this young man on your picture will be starting from pole position for the upcoming race. Mathis Brageau taking his first ever pole position in the IAME X30 Euro Series, and we caught up with him yesterday. Mathis Brageau, congratulations here in Wackersdorf, your first ever pole position in the IAME Euro Series. Bravo Mathis, première pole position en IAME Euro Series. Comment est-ce qu'on se sent après cette performance?
Bah, très bien, franchement, je ne m'y attendais pas du tout. Donc c'est vraiment une belle performance. Dire qu'avant, je ne pouvais pas faire mieux que top 5 et tout ça. Donc franchement, je suis vraiment content.
It's going to be a long weekend, a lot of fights, a couple of races for you to hopefully make it to the final. So you're confident with pole position that you can do good. Tu te sens bien maintenant avec cette pole position déjà réalisée que tu peux faire la différence ici à Wackersdorf, parce que ça va être un week-end avec pas mal de bagarres aussi dans le peloton.
Bah oui, avec tous ces beaux virages pour doubler, donc j'espère que je vais conserver cette pole durant tout le week-end et essayer de gagner.
Magnifique, merci beaucoup. Félicitations. Congratulations. Good to hear from Mathis Brageot, who was speaking to us in French as well. One of the young drivers from France and aligning himself here this weekend with a Spirit Racing team, very well known amongst the IAME X30 races from Switzerland as well, as Mathis Brageot was celebrating with his team yesterday about his performance. Let's see if he will be able to manage the start, first of all, and manage the rest of his race. He will be on the left side of your picture, the right side of the track, coming to turn number 1. He will have a stronger position, that's for sure, in the mini category, as Will Green, you can see him now, will be starting alongside him from Jimmy Green Racing, the Green family, and the next generation with a couple of them, 3 of them actually competing in a mini in a junior category in this IAME Euro Series. They gave us some fantastic performance in last year's IAME Warriors final. You might remember that from Portimao, to the delight of their father, Jamie Green, ahead of the team, obviously. So that's a beautiful history into the racing world. And we cannot wait for the next chapters to be written by Will Green and his brother and cousins.
Indeed. Well, Will Green, who starts this one on the front row of the grid, leader of the championship as well, ahead of Austin Newstead. There is Oliver Warner, who starts this on the second row of the grid. Oliver currently sitting 5th in the championship standings, was the winner of the final in Zuera as well, but didn't take part in the final at Franciacorta. That has been the biggest downside to his season so far this year, but still there, P5 with those 25 championship points, is yet to score points in the superheat phase and at the end of the qualifying heat phase of the weekend, so is not able to take anything from that as well. So we'll keep a close eye on how all of these drivers progress over the course of this weekend. There's probably around 30 seconds before these drivers make their way out onto the circuit, but right now definitely a tense time for the field. Lights go green as the drivers start up those engines and head out onto the track. Let's take you through the starting lineup for this one. Mathis Brageot, his best qualifying and his first pole position in time qualifying, starts this one on the front row with Will Green alongside. Oliver Warner and Novella Morales go from row 2 ahead of Zdeněk Babacek and Harry Williams on row 3. George Clark and Bruno Grieling round out row 4 ahead of Jarno Seyer and Aurélien Lemaire on row number 5. Alfie Davidson and Antoine Venet round out row number 6.
On row number 7, we'll have Nahil El Gahoudi with Teddy J. Porter, Samuel Hugon and Tony Cacciaferro, row number 8. Row number 9, Nicky Reed and Alexandre Point. Row number 10, Luca Portaro and Mio Cornel, followed by Elias Sami. A total of 21 drivers making their way to the track into the formation lap. And for the Mini, it's going to be even shorter distance, 7 laps to go through for first the A versus B. Then we're going to have the race between C and the D groups. 3 races to go through for each of those drivers to qualify as good as possible. And as for the juniors and the seniors, there's 10 points awarded to the winner of the provisional classification at the end of those qualifying races by the end of today. Tomorrow we'll be down to the superheat, establishing the order for the final. So you know the drill if you're familiar with the IAME X30 Euro Series, and if you're curious about finding out any more about one of the top karting series in Europe and in the world. Well, and as I said that, 872 running into some trouble by the look of it. And this is Teddy J. Porter from Oliver Roland Motorsport. And we thought for a moment he was going to stop onto the track. He was having a bit of a moment, but he seems to be back on a pace, trying to join the rest of the field. So just to finish off, if you're curious, well, you can go to IAMEEuroseries.com when you will be provided with all the documents, results, classification, live timing, all the information that you need to better understand and immerse yourself into the joy of kart racing at this level.
Indeed. Well, drivers and field making their way into turn 11. Nice and slow, steady pace all the way throughout. Great to see. The drivers all adhering to that one. No one getting a jump in the early stages. There's some hands up waving in the mid-pack there. There is a gap that has formed in that mid-pack as well, but the lights go green nonetheless, and it is a great start from the field as they make their way in towards turn one, the first of the mini races this weekend, and it's the outside row that gets the jump. Will Green, Novella Morales, with a brilliant start to that race, break their way through. Harry Williams through as well. Williams looking very strong there in third place, but then all the way behind, that's where it's all kicking off. Fourth place downwards, that's where it becomes interesting. You can see here the karts going 3 wide as they exit out of turns 4 and 5. They'll go into the chicane now, and where will they all line up? Remember, they have to stay single file through here, side by side, and it becomes way too risky through that chicane.
And unfortunately, I think the start didn't go according to plan at all for Mathis Brajo.
And yellow flags.
And a yellow flag, and one driver, one Fusion driver out in turn number 9 by the look of it, as the driver.
And it's Alfred Davidson.
Yes, indeed. As he just hit the wall. You can see him now, the 850. And he's back on his feet, trying to get his machine back onto the track, but the engine seized. And unfortunately for him, that's race done and dusted into that opening lap. What a shame for the Infusion Motorsport driver.
Well, Alfred Davidson, I can see it out the commentary box window, is in a bit of a protest with the marshal. Now, he was getting his kart out of the barrier. And of course, a driver is allowed to get back in and get it restarted as long as he doesn't get assistance from a marshal. Yeah, I think he's arguing a little bit about that one, but I think the marshal's like, no, you're taking too long. I've got to clear the track. So, yeah, safety is paramount in that one. And, yeah, but clearly a little bit of frustration there. Will Green then leading the way. He's leading the way by quite some way as well. Morales is still there from Williams, so they're all good. Zenit Babacek's up to P4. Ahead of Oliver Warner, Jarlis Sayre, Mathis Brajo, Tony Cachefera, Nahil El Gahoudi, 4 places gained. Ahead of, just behind Tony Cachefera's 8 places gained. And George Clark currently in P10. The race going on, and look at this train here that we've got. And this is carbon copy of what we see in Mini X30. You see the train start to form, but Harry Williams has said, I would like second place, please. And Novella Morales tucks in behind into third. And again, as long as they can maintain that gap, maintain that pace and stick with Will Green, not allow him to break away, they should be okay. Now, Zenit Babacek sits there currently in P4. He's just set the fastest lap of the race. So despite the fact that he's on his own, he hasn't got the toe or the bump draft from anyone in front or behind. He's managing just with outright pace to close in on these top 3.
That's going to be an interesting one as well, because there's 3 in the lead, but very soon, maybe 4. Zenit Babacek was one of the leaders in the qualifying heats back earlier at the Winter Cup, the opening round of the IAME X30 international calendar, and is showing certainly some good skills and the results over the years in that category of the TEPS racing team. Can he join the leading trio? He still has half of a second to climb to get close to Novella Morales down in third. No one is daring to move a muscle at the moment. Will Green still in front of Harry Williams outside of turn number 4, with Novella Morales, Zenit Babacek keeping a close watch from a distance, trying to get close as well. But still only lap number 4. Time will soon be running out, and Novella Morales can already feel it. We both thought that he was going to go, at least try to go for the move in turn number 9. He's going to have to wait maybe the next lap, because after that there won't be that many opportunities left, and Zenit Babacek might be thinking the same. As we just heard an engine noise in the background. I do wonder if it's from here or from somewhere else.
From the road, yeah, because there is a public road literally right next to the track, and I don't know if that was a car. It didn't sound as like a 60cc 2-stroke cut that an exhaust had come off. It sounded quite something else. Morales down the inside retakes second place out of Harry Williams, and I think Novella Morales just saying there, right, okay, I'll let you take second place. I was going to see if you could try and close in on Green. You kind of did, but you weren't getting past. So now it's my turn to get back in second place, and I'm going to try and go through. And crucially as well, it was probably a check over the shoulder from Novella Morales, and seeing Zenit Babacek had closed in and thought, I don't want anything to do with that battle, so I'm going to get past you and put you in between me and that imminent threat that's heading towards us.
Yeah, any opportunity you might take, you just have to go for it. And with indeed Harry Williams in between, he might have got himself a little bit of a cushion of safety, but we're getting close to the conclusion of that race already. As lap number 6 this is, Will Green watching over his shoulder. Novella Morales, Harry Williams, Zenit Babacek, with 4 drivers in the picture. Will someone try to go around the inside? Yes, the door was open, and Morales takes Williams with him. Will Green, very smartly, certainly, he's felt that the door was sitting too much open. He's going to have to try to protect his position around the outside, clipping the curb, taking a position from Williams back into P2. What a move from Will Green. That's what we like to see. He's going to try again. He's very much on the tail of Nuvara Morales into the chicane. That could come from anywhere from those four into that hairpin. The inside is blocked by Morales. Will Green is still trying, very much taken in sandwich, squeezed a little bit by Williams and Zdeněk Babíček. On the way to the next hairpin, they touch slightly. Was there maybe a slide from the leader, but Morales is losing the win and the lead potentially to Harry Williams and Babíček in the middle as well.
Well, Williams runs wide at turn 11. Babíček now takes the lead of this race. Across the start-finish line, it is Zdeněk Babíček leading from Harry Williams. Will Green from Nuvara Morales. Now they are still 1, 2, 3, 4. Green and Morales go to the outside. Williams and Babíček to the inside. Green's got the outside again here, but keep an eye because Charles Sayer, Tony Cachaferro, Matis Brajot, they're all closing in. Nuvara Morales down the inside. There's contact, spin and round. A spin for the Fusion. The 809 of Charles Sayer out of this race as the rest of the field amazingly managed to avoid contact, but he just rejoins the track right in front of the George Gibbons driver of Luca Protaro, right there at the back of the field. But that was a very dramatic one there. Babíček now clear a little bit by 0.3 of a second ahead of Nuvara Morales. He can really now just get this kart to the end of this race. Williams still there ahead of Oliver Warner. Where did the rest of the field go? Williams is still there. It all updates now. Warner from Cachaferro. It's all drivers have tumbled down the order here. Right, Zdeněk Babíček takes the win on that one in the first opening race of the Mini X30. Brilliant, brilliant drive there for Zdeněk Babíček. No drama for him whatsoever. Really, the outright pace there was able to close in the Teps Racing team, providing a superb package at this point of the weekend. So it was Nuvara Morales who finished in second place against Harry Williams, and that was Will Green at the side of the track. So Will Green actually retired from that one. I was wondering, where did Green go? And, well, I can tell you right now, he's right there. And that's at the exit of turn number 4 in towards turn 5. That's the outside of turn 5 there. So clearly that damage just too much, and the kart came to a stop. A very dramatic final race there.
Yeah, it was dramatic indeed. We might need to see that again to better understand what happened really concretely to Will Green over there, because it was so messy into the later stages of that last lap. Messy in a positive way, as in the mini category, those drivers never back down, not until a checkered flag is waving. The race is never finished before that point, and Zdeněk Babíček just proved it once again, climbing 4 places from P5 to P1. From Nuvara Morales, Harry Williams taking P3 from Oliver Warner, Tony Cachaferro, Bruno Grayling, Nail El Gahoudi P7 from Anton Venant, Matis Brajot, George Clark running up the top 10, 11th place for Teddy J. Porter from Samuel Hugon, Alexandre Point, Nick Reed, Aurélien Lemaire P15, followed by Milo Cornell, Luca Portaro, Ilya Sami and Jarla Sayer at the back end of the classification after that incident. The congratulations are in order for Zdeněk Babíček, who did a brilliant job in that race where we lost Alfie Davidson and Will Green towards the end of the distance. Will Green had a perfect start from the outside of the front row. Not so much, unfortunately, for Matis Brajot, the young pole sitter, the first time in this position, and he wasn't able to manage the procedure. He would finish P9 in the end of this race, but it was down to the battle between those three, with Harry Williams and Nuvara Morales, who would get themselves into that leading mix, away from the rest of the field, as we thought for a moment. Some drivers, Matis Brajot was squeezed a little bit on the inside. It was unfortunately done and dusted very, very early on for Alfie Davidson, who was protesting against the marshal. We didn't get to see from our distance if the engine was still running. Seeing the protestation and the anger from the young driver, it certainly was the case. He thought that maybe he could get back on his own, but due to safety, the marshal thought otherwise, and we can hardly blame him. On the turn number 2, back in the lead, and the battle was still raging. Will Green was still having the upper hand at this point before Nuvara Morales and Harry Williams will go to battle. Still was trying to go around the outside, and unfortunately will go very, very squeezed out there, taking back P2 with Zdeněk Babíček on the right side, thinking as well to go, trying to go for his chances. Just before the last turn, Will Green would go from first to third. Once again, Janek Babisek in the middle as well. And we would head towards the last lap of the race, where even more drama would happen.
Yeah, this moment here through the turn number 3. Now you can see there was contact there at Sayer, and that's what caused Will Green to have issues. And then the car on the outside there, I think that was Harry Williams that amazingly just managed to hold on. But a really scary moment there for Jarlis Sayer, right in the middle of the track. Right, here's another view of it. Yeah, Sayer down the inside, goes over the front of Green. It was Williams who got pinged into the air there, landed on all 4. But you can see a couple more karts going wide. But why did Green stop? I think his engine just said no at that point, or something's locked up, or something happened to his kart. But yeah, it just gave up. And amazing reactions there for the rest of the field to all avoid contact there with Jarlis Sayer. This was more action that happened further down the field there. That was a big send down the inside for Oliver Warner, battling away with the likes of Tony Cachefera and all of that. But Zenit Babacek, well, superb drive there. Quite literally just able to close up on the leading trio with his own pace in that race, and was able to get past cleanly, and then, yeah, really pushed forward and managed to just avoid all of that coming together at turn number 3. Speaking of those public roads earlier on, there is one of them that is right there, right down the kind of main straight a bit there. Brilliant, brilliant view that is on the main straight that you can see all the way down there. The track in the foreground there, getting ready for this one. But that's the end of the first Mini X30 race. There is more to come. One more, in fact, in total coming up next. And, well, Bruno Priam starting that one on the front of the grid. But he's had a really good qualifying session. It is Group C and D that is coming up next for Mini X30. And, like I say, time qualifying was super, super close. There was nothing really separating the two drivers right at the front of the field on this one. Very, very close all the way throughout. But all these drivers really just trying to get these karts, I think, through the first qualifying heat phase. It's the most important race of the weekend because it's the first one.
It's the first one, and that's certainly how you want to get your weekend starting on a good manner. And the pressure is certainly on those young shoulders as Priam Bruno, you can see on the screen, will be starting from the pole position from Belgium. He is driving a Paroline for the Spirit Racing team from Switzerland. And he will try, of course, he was certainly watching from the sideline the performance of his teammate, starting from pole position in the previous race. Mathis Brageau would end up in P9 after a difficult start and difficult race, certainly. There's progress to be made from Mathis Brageau. You can easily understand how difficult that can be for your first time in such a position ahead of the field. Let's see what Priam Bruno will be able to do. He's going to have Ivan Gonzalez by his side, a young driver from Belgium, as well as Ludwig Ranvitst and Austin Newsted just further back. The drivers waiting on the demi-grid before the start of the race, taking place in just under 5 minutes local time here in Wackersdorf, still under beautiful weather conditions. The sun is up, temperatures as well up to 27 degrees. We just gained 2 degrees for the past hour. It might actually rise to about 32, 33 degrees here in the beautiful region of Bavaria. But fortunately, we have a bit of air conditioning from our position for both myself and Anthony Jordan. So this little machine will keep us alive until the end of the day. And a couple of people surrounding the track, a lot of the mechanics, families and friends gathering this weekend at the Procart Raceland of Wackersdorf. If you happen to find yourself in the area for holiday or spending the weekend, please pay us a visit. There's plenty of attractions on track and off as well. You won't regret it, starting with one of the best karting series there is to be. And starting with the mini category, the first step, where those young drivers learn their craft about becoming racing drivers for the years to come. Priam Bruno and Edu Gonzalez will lead the field for the upcoming race. When looking at the current championship standings, Will Green, that we just had at the first race, not certainly the result he had been expecting, having to retire from his first qualifying race. Will Green is still, of course, at this point, our current leader of the championship. He amassed 52 points in 2 rounds with 1 win in Franciacorta, 47 points for Austin Newstad, second, 5 points down, with his best result in Zuera for the opening round, the second place. Priam Bruno is third in the championship as we speak, second in Franciacorta, 12 points down from Will Green. So you can easily understand how important this weekend can be and this first race can be for Priam Bruno. If he can manage to win this one, well, it will take a good option when it comes to climbing on top of the classification.
Certainly will do, and that race coming up in around 2 minutes' time. Do stay with us for that one. There on your screen is Evan Gonzalez, the driver from Spain, getting himself ready for this one. Final bit of prep talk happening. You can see just behind Evan Gonzalez is second in the championship standings. Austin Newstead for the BMR Restart team as well, just in that background, getting himself ready, not currently seated in the kart. And now he's just seen Will Green retire from that race. That will obviously put him, I suspect, in a better state of mind. Not you know, thinking, that's, you know, that happened to him, but thinking, right, okay, he's had drama. That's going to put him back a little bit. I can push forward now. I can really try and break away and think, you know, I can lead that intermediate classification if I can get a good start. And we have seen here a couple of times that the outside for technically turn one, the first right-hander, is getting the better jumps here. And that's initially because at the start of the race, there's that initial left-hand kink first, which is kind of feeling like the outside line. I've got the inside line going into the first corner, which isn't a corner. It's just a flat-out chicane. So there is that little bit of element, which is keeping the starts actually really, really competitive, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what we love about the Wackersdorf layout, or the best facilities and layouts that we have in Europe, that's for sure, for the practice of kart racing. Especially true when we get to come here with gearbox categories, for instance. You find yourself with the outside line indeed being very efficient on the way to that left and right kick before turn number one. We've seen a couple of drivers this weekend going for the move into turn number one when the top speeds for the seniors, you know, about 115, 120 kilometer an hour with the toe. A very impressive performance there. So it's not that easy, also for the juniors and the minis, obviously, to try to find a bit of space and knowing, of course, that you find yourself under attack from your opponent coming to the breaking point of turn number two. So it's a bit on and off in terms of, it's a bit of a dilemma. Shall I go for the move, knowing that I can be the one under difficult situation coming to the next corner? Shall I wait? Shall I go for the breaking point? There's certainly a couple of very interesting overtaking spots here on this layout of the Pokal Raceland. And the mini categories, the mini drivers coming to the track right now will be eager to take advantage of those spots. Here's the grid.
Well, it is Priam Bruno starting this one on the front row of the grid. Ivan Gonzalez starting alongside Ludwig Granqvist and Austin Newstead. Second in the championship starts this one on the second row of the grid. Maxim Bobajov and Noah Grenier round out row number 3 ahead of Sukmani Kira and Freddie Wood on row 4. Daniel Ferguson and Eden Vallejo go from row 5 with Colby Patterson and Christian Kobe rounding out row number 6.
Row number 7, we'll see Harvey Musk as well as Pato Medina, followed by Julien Cotterley as well as Baptiste Auguste. Then we have Attica Mir, Luca Pavel, Minjai Kim and Guido Ebergagné. In total, 20 drivers making their way onto the track. As we said, in total in this mini category this weekend, we have 46 competitors. Only 36, 10 minus 10 will make it to the final on Sunday afternoon. And for that, they need good results. They need to find themselves within the upper part of that classification coming to tomorrow morning as well. And it starts with the best result you can find in this qualifying race. Priam Bruno and Ivan Gonzalez on the front row of the grid. 7 laps to go through once again for the mini class. And as for now, your current leader with 1 race down, easy to remember, Zdenek Babicek from TEPS Racing, taking a very impressive win, as there's certainly more than one contender who can play at the front. We've seen with Morales, we've seen Ari Williams, Will Green. Certainly we will have that frustration that hopefully can turn into determination for the next races. With a DNF at this stage, considering that they only have 3 races before the end of the day, before the superheat. That's not a lot. There's not a lot of room for mistake, and a DNF at this level is certainly no good news at all.
No, it certainly isn't. Drivers getting themselves formed up again here. And so far, it's been a series of perfect starts for our grid. as they make their way into that final corner again. Tension starts to rise. We have just seen a very dramatic first Mini X30. Are we going to see a dramatic second Mini X30 as the lights go green and the field heads in towards turn number 1? Great start for Priam Bruno, who holds on to the race lead as they dive down in towards turn number 2, the braking zone. The concertina effect kicks in. Drivers try to find their way through. It's not been a great start for the outside row this time around as everyone goes through. Ludwig Granqvist just losing out there, or currently still in second place, I should say. So he's had a relatively good start as well. The outside row, Ivan Gonzalez not getting away too well. You can see the 2 Fusion carts have come through. Maxim Bobajov and Sukmani Kira having a very good start there. But for Ivan Gonzalez, Austin Gale, as there's a change for all the lead. Granqvist now leading the way, and it's all kicking off in the background here. Bobajov's going to send it down the inside. He's going to take the lead of this race now, and we are live on board with him. Now, what's going on behind them? Because, well, that's where it's got a bit interesting here. So Bobajov's going to cross the line first. Priam Bruno's there in second place. Granqvist still there in third. It's Ferguson who's in fourth place with Sukmani Kira. Patterson sixth. Newstead is down to seventh after starting this one, P4.
Yeah, very strong start to the race for Maxim Bobrashov as we were about to jump on board as he was making his move. And as for the first race, we can see a trio of drivers getting ahead of the field and building themselves a bit of a gap, 1.1 seconds between the Maxim Bobrashov, your leader, and Pattinson, Colby Pattinson, done in P4. A good start as well for him at the wheel of his machine prepared by Oliver Roland Motorsport. He climbed 7 places up to P4. As for now, Bobrashov under the pressure of Priam Bruno. Granqvist, the only driver from the outside of the front row, having a good start. Sorry, he was on the inside, my apologies, as he was able to get himself into P2, now down to P3. And he's going to try on Priam Bruno. Watch out for the young Belgian driver. He lost a bit of momentum on the outside of the last corner, giving a slight breather.
Oh, here we go.
There he comes, the Falcon driver on the inside, and Priam Bruno is not resisting at all. It's still quite early. Entering lap number 3 out of 7. Bobrashov is having none of it, not even watching over his shoulder. He knows that the job is his to do. Granqvist up into P2. Priam Bruno P3 then. Pattinson on to P4. Newstead follows in 5th place from Kira, Ferguson, Corby, Musk, and Noah Grenier. Unfortunately for him, dropping 4 places down to P10. And drop of positions as well for the 840 just behind. This is Wood down in a P11 as Julian van de Kotterle, unfortunately, the young Dutch driver seemed to have run into a bit of a trouble, dropping 5 places all the way down the classification. And they come across. Here we go into a lap number 4 out of 7. And as we said, as we had for the first race of the mini class, 2 wagons, pretty much the battle for the win and the battle for P4. What's left of strong results to be taken in this race.
Well, here we go then. The grid still closing in at this point of the race. Bobajov still controlling on to the front of this. Granqvist has closed in and, well, could put on an attack here. Now, is Granqvist going to go for it straight away, or is he going to stay behind thinking, you know, maybe we could push each other along, break away from the likes of Priam Bruno? Still sits there in 3rd place. And was that a small mistake there from Priam Bruno? I'm not too sure because he has dropped back a little bit here. We're back on board with Maxim Bobajov. But I just caught a glimpse there at the corner of my eye that maybe the back of that cart stepped out a little bit here through the first chicane in towards turn 1. Absolutely flat out through here into the braking zone of turn number 2. Again, keeping it calm, and you can see how little steering input that Bobajov's putting in here. Absolutely superb motion there. Granqvist holding on still to 2nd place, still doing a good job, not able to attack just yet, but again, is staying behind. Is it a matter of when or where for Granqvist, or if it's going to happen here?
Yeah, certainly a lot of uncertainty at this point. He has a couple of spots to try to go for the move. The turn number 10 right here is one of them, but he stays behind, just kindly waiting for the right moment to go for an attack. But the longer he waits, and the longer he won't have any opportunity, and he might find himself under the pressure of Priam Bruno, who lost indeed a bit of momentum from the last lap. I do wonder what happened. We might need to see that again in replays. As Brian Bruno not only lost momentum and contact with the leading duet, but he sees as well Colby Pattinson, the British driver, getting closer. So we might have 2 battles on our hands with Newstead and Kira, 5 and 6. Here's what happened. Around the inside goes Babreshov with Ludwig just in front, getting ahead, both of them, of Priam Bruno into turn number 9. Then the next hairpin, and a beautiful move on the inside as Priam Bruno just behind. And you can see, that's an interesting gesture from the leader, Maxim Babreshov, saying to Grant Wist, let's keep it real. Let's see a checker flag together. Let's not do anything unwise. We still have 2 races to go after that. So we need the result, we need the points. So let's try not to throw each other out. And Grant Wist is responding, actually, the final lap. That might be a little bit of a play as well. Mind games from Grant Wist saying to Babreshov, let's keep going, I won't attack you. But then in the end, maybe go for a very quick move into the last lap.
Oh, yeah, we've seen that 1,000,001 times in the Mini X30 category, saying, no, you keep going, and then, boom, send it down the inside. We've seen it so many times out. So all these drivers are aware that it's a sort of tactic that drivers can deploy. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword a little bit with it. Do you go for it? Oh, drama here. That's not gone well at all for Min-Jae Kim, unfortunately, for the VDK Racing team, out of this race on the final lap. And that is, not what you want to see at all. Now, with 1 corner left to go, I think Bobrishov and Granqvist had actually stuck to their agreement on that one, which is good to see. Bobrishov will take the win then across the start-finish line ahead of Ludwig Granqvist, both giving each other a thumbs up. Priam Bruno finishes in 3rd place ahead of Colby Pattinson. Newstead finishes in P5 ahead of Sukmani Kira. Musk finishing in 7th place ahead of Noah Grenier. Wood finishing in 9th ahead of Ivan Gonzalez. Will not be fully happy with that result after starting on the front row of the grid. That is the top 10. But for Maxim Bobrishov on that one, I'm sure will be absolutely delighted with that result.
Yeah, he must be delighted because it was very much in control. And despite the pressure of convinced in the end, 71,000 of a second in the end. But as you said, they stuck to the agreement initially of not attacking each other towards the later stages of this race. And for Maxim Bobrishov, that's a win number 1, obviously, for his first race of the weekend. Maxim Bobrishov, who has been in very interesting positions earlier this season, leading the heats, notably in the round number 2. Franciacorta, actually, it was ahead of the pack at the end of the qualifying heats. Maxim Bobrishov leading here as well, once again on track. Ludwig Granqvist having to make do with 2nd place. Tactics at play. Priam Bruno, your pole sitter, having to make do, but certainly not what he wanted, certainly to start with 3rd place. Then we have Colby Pattinson, Austin Newstead, Sumani Kera, Arle Musk, Noah Grenier, Eddie Wood, and Ivan Gonzalez running up the top 10. 11th place for Christian Corby, Baptiste Augustin, Aiden Valeoluke, Daniel Ferguson, Andrea Luca Pavel, Julian van de Cotorle down in P16 finally, from Pato Medina, Guido Ebergeni, and Attica Mir. One driver that we lost, Min-Jae Kim, you've seen, fortunately not quite able to see the checkered flag, and that's what I love to see between the drivers. There might be rivals, and sometimes fierce rivals on track, but outside of it they remain friends, and that's the sort of fair play that we love to see between them.
Indeed. Let's have a look at the highlights from that race. And, well, on board with Maxim Bobrishov at the start of this one, you can see that the inside row gets the jump on the outside row this time around. You can see there's no competition from that outside row at all. And these 3 just break away from the rest of the field in that opening stages. You can already see that Granqvist was looking for the move there down the inside. Not able to get it done in that early stages, though. They all stay line astern. It all concertina up in the background a little bit, though, as the rest of the field would slot their way through. This is the outside view of the start of the race. And you can see, about 3, 4, 5 wide in the background there, all battling from P6 downwards. That was a very interesting moment. Obviously, the 2 fusions of Bobrishov and Sukmani Kira, Daniel Ferguson, all getting a good start to their race as well. Starting to close up, and you can see that moment just behind them there. This was Granqvist going for the lead of the race. Bobajov following as well, and then you can see Grand Chris checks over the shoulder, can see there's no one there, then goes to the outside, but then it was a sneaky little hello down the inside, says Maxim Bobajov, and takes the lead of the race and holds on to it for a good portion of that race. There was the outside view of that attack as well, but brilliant stuff for Maxim Bobajov. There is the confirmation of the working together, and there'd be no change between those two. They would stick to their word, and they would finish 1-2 on track. Exactly what you want to see from a first race, and maybe a sign of an alliance between the two drivers going into this weekend. If we see more of them racing together later on, which we will, you know, we could see some more dramatics from them. We just don't know. Guillaume, seniors, they're coming up next.
Yes, indeed. The last rotation of the morning. Stay with us. We have 3 more races to go before the lunch break. And the next race coming up, we'll see the groups B versus G. At this point in the senior class, the top echelon of the IAME Euro Series. Well, a couple of different winners. At this point, Eloy Gonzalez, the Spaniard, is leading the board in terms of number of wins, with 3 wins out of 4 attempts. A P19, unfortunately, dropped in a little bit further back into the classification, but he still has something to say into this run of qualifying heats. 2 wins for David Dragan from Zaki Motorsport, and victories as well for Marcus Lusio and the likes of Dani Caronini, QLA, Kevin Lantinga, Vilmos Van, Honaluya, and Fiamma Coughlin was for yesterday. Before we get back into the racing, let's hear from one of the contenders of this category, who had his first race earlier this morning, Jason Smith from Victory Lane, and we caught up with him yesterday. Joseph Smith, well done to you. It was a very decent lap, putting you ahead of your group. Can you talk us through that performance in qualifying? How did you feel on track?
I mean, I felt amazing. The kart felt really, really, really good, and it's just such a good feeling. And the team have done everything they can to put us on pole, and they've done it.
Competition will be tight. There's a lot of you we can find at the front. How do you feel ahead of the rest of the weekend with that good performance in the bag already?
I'm feeling really confident that we can get an IC quite high and also just keep gaining positions and hopefully an overall pole.
Well done to you.
Thank you very much.
Well, great there to chat to Joseph Smith there, seemingly calm and collected ahead of this weekend. We did hear from Sam van der Heijden earlier on when we saw his video. He starts this one on pole position as well. P4 in his race he had earlier on today, so another good result for him there within that top 5. That's his second P4 that he's had. There he is on your screen. But he had the drama a little bit at the start where that engine just didn't fire up, and we thought, oh goodness, is he out of the race before it's even started? And luckily for him, he was able to get that one going. Paul Chouse will start this one alongside. So this is Group B and G. Now, Group G did have their 3 races yesterday. They've not had a race so far today because there's 4 groups in total in the senior category. So one group didn't race earlier this morning, and that is Group G. Paul Chouse leading that train. 6th, 7th, and a 4th for Paul Chouse yesterday. I think that's a solid first day of racing for him.
It was indeed at the wheel of his Gillard machine. You can see him, Paul Chouse, with a 2nd position on the starting grid coming to this race. Alongside Sam van der Heijden, all the drivers on the dummy grid by the side of the track. And on the left, you have the entry of the pit lane, you have all the scrutineering area, and the rest of the facilities of the Polka Raceland. At the back of your picture currently, you have all the paddock and the camping zone and everything. This is pretty much the bombing heart. They can see the paddock, the entry to that mini city that takes place at every race of the IAME X30 Euro Series, as well as for everything karting in Europe and in the world. The paddock, that's really the breathing space, the beating heart of any event of that scale. As Kevin Lantinga will be alongside Elia Weiss on the 2nd row of the grid. Kevin Lantinga, who had a win yesterday alongside other strong results for the driver from KCR. Kevin Lantinga, who will end up winning just after the rain. Vilmos Van was the winner of that qualifying race. Yesterday there was put under the red flag after some pouring rain for just a few minutes. 3 minutes to wait before the start of that next qualifying heat. B versus G, and a couple of interesting names into that field. We've seen Andy Rattel putting his helmet on the left side to 42, driving for the Pantano Racing team. The Frenchman will be alongside Christian Biazzatti. 255, this is Elia Weiss from Germany, one of the many local drivers competing here this weekend.
Really, really strong performance from Elia Weiss over the course of yesterday. Is a fan of third place. 3 third-place finishes yesterday, starting P4, so all gains in the race, but yet to finish ahead of that one. Top 2 finish first, or a win or a second, so at the moment, but still really, really strong results there. Andy Rattel finished 3rd in his first qualifying heat earlier this morning, and was looking, well, I suspect to repeat that from P5, maybe even better it yesterday. Tough day at the end of the day for Andy Rattel, 31st, and that retirement. So again, needing that strong result, again, like he had in his first qualifying heat, where he finished 2nd. Then his first qualifying heat he had this morning, finishing P3. We'll have Christian Biazzatti starting alongside. Biazzatti, also good results for the driver of the TB Kart team. 5th, 4th, and a 9th, all within inside the top 10. And, yeah, again, some just strong results there. It did drop down a little bit at some points in some of the races, but he certainly fought back. And, you know, he's kept his elbows out. He's not been too dramatic about anything like that. And he's just getting through this weekend. And that's always good to see. It's always nice when you get a driver who's just fully focused on seeing what they do. There as well, starting alongside Mathias van der Kerkhoff. Now, Mathias van der Kerkhoff has had a very, very tough weekend so far. P6 in his first qualifying heat, that was perfect, and he thought, and we all thought, that it's gonna be a good weekend for van der Kerkhoff. But then his last 3 races he's had have all been retirements, and they've been 30th or lower, and that is not what you want.
Yeah, that's really it's been a difficult weekend for Mathias van der Kerkhoff, who managed to grab his first points the last time around in Franciacorta for round 2. And as you can see, with some of the drivers waiting on the sideline, it is hot, with a lot of humidity here in Wackersdorf, and all the ways practical to try to get yourself cooled down a little bit, trying to find some shade. Don't forget the sun cream, but a wet towel as well could be of some use for some of the drivers to try to keep the head cool, waiting for the next races. But at this point, temperature still 27 degrees Celsius in the air, could be rising above 30 throughout the afternoon. Really tropical conditions here in Wackersdorf, and this should stay the same until the end of the day. Green flag as the light is out. This is the signal for the drivers to make their way onto the track from the dummy grid. Here's the grid info.
Well, it is Sam van der Heijden starting on a pole position on this one with a brand new set of tyres on his kart. Paul Chaus goes from the second row, or from the front row of the grid as well in P2. Also fresh set of tyres, and I'll stress, nearly the entire grid has gone for brand new tyres for this race. Kevin Antinga and Elia Weiss go from row 2, Andy Rattel and Christian Biazzatti on row 3. Mathias van der Kerkhoff, who needs that good result in this race, starts on the 4th row of the grid with Hugo Heron alongside. Dan Ginchard and Milan Marjak rounds out row number 5 and the top 10 ahead of Luna Correa and Luca Horton on row 6. Hamza Alfayez will be on his own on the 7th row as Patrick Ovkodovchik is no longer participating in this weekend. He'll have Stuart Svensson and Louis Schutz alongside on row number 8. Max Oschenbrink will go from row 9 all by himself as well as Lewis Bird missing from the grid.
10th row of the grid will be complete though, with Louis Johnson Scholl and Dylan Wellens, followed by Louis Comyn and Luca Taylor, Mathis Mascout and Hugo Besson, row number 12. We have Marcel Matijevic and Andrea Pirovan, row number 13. Row 14, Nicola Simic and Anton Spanswick, followed by Luc Neubauer, Keanu Wellens and Kian Gerharty. A total of 31 drivers down to 29, as we are indeed missing Patrick Ogodovic and Lewis Bird. We didn't get to see, we get to know yet the exact reason. Mechanical driver you pick, and we'll keep you up to date if hopefully they will be back for some more racing this weekend. Sam van der Heijden and Paul Chaus on the front row of the grid, as we just had and a couple of drivers as while they're putting the tires up to temperature, try not to wave too much, otherwise you could find yourself into trouble. After the 7 and 8 laps of distance, back to 11 for the senior category. And as you can see now, Vilmos Van is your current leader of the qualifying heats from Phil McCaughlin. Danny Carinini, Elia Weiss down to P4. And this is where he will be starting on the outside of the second row.
Indeed. Drivers enter into the tram lines. Lights go green. We are racing down in towards turn number 1. Great start for Van der Heijden, who holds on to the lead of this one as they go through. Keep an eye on Lantinga, who looks to the inside, but around the outside it's Paul Chouse, who tries his luck and runs out of racing room and slides down in towards P4. Elia Weiss back up into third place. The TB car pushing through of Christian Biasati, trying to get involved in this fight. Stays there in P4 as the field goes through. But look at the start here for Sem van der Heijden, breaking away at the start of this race.
And he's having Kevin Lantinga, his teammate from KCR, just behind. As in the meantime, Paul Chouse is trying to resist from one of the Pantanos, Andy Rattel, trying to give him a hard time at the end of this opening lap. The two teammates, Lantinga, Van der Heijden, protecting each other, so to speak. Once they're up there, they're gonna try to do everything that they can to really stay where they are. So my driver is further back, trying to find some positions into the last sector. One lap down, Van der Heijden, Lantinga, and Lantinga's not waiting around.
Oh dear, drama. It's Dan Ginchard. Sorry there, Guillaume. It's Dan Ginchard off the track. The SVR Motorsport driver is out as down the inside, Elia Weiss challenges for second place on Kevin Lantinga and Sem van der Heijden. Kevin Lantinga, there's another car stop there. That's another one falling down the order. Now that is well, okay, let's find out who exactly that is.
That's Max Oceanbreak, unfortunately.
It is, and who else? Matthijs van der Kerkhoff has tumbled down the order again, and he is 27th. I don't know if he's out of the race. I've not seen him on track.
He has a technical flag, actually.
Oh, well, there we go. And that's a weekend over, I think, at that point.
My God, yeah, such a disaster for him once again. That's another race in the bin for the poor Belgian driver, unfortunately. Matthijs van der Kerkhoff, who is still with us, but he's going to need to get back into the pits in no time.
That is heartbreaking for Van der Kerkhoff, going in and having such a strong start of the weekend with a P6. You know, he was looking like this is going to be a great weekend for him. And from that point onward, it's just fallen apart for him, and you've got to feel for the young driver. Well, Lantinga leads the way ahead of Elia Weiss, and this battle here, Christian Biasati and Sem van der Heijden, and Van der Heijden back down the inside. We'll say thank you very much and moves back past in towards P3. Paul Chouse returning back to the front. Rattel, Heron, Marzak all behind.
We had a bit of a moment for Milan Marzak, actually, who went wide outside of turn number 10. He was able to continue, fortunately for him.
Yes, indeed. Well, race going on, and all the drivers here on the fourth lap of the race is down the inside. Aaron Rattel goes through, says thank you very much on Hugo Heron, and moves up another position, gets past Paul Chouse as well. Dean Geraghty with the fastest lap of the race is pushing himself up through the field. This was how the lead change happened. Down the inside of turn number 2, it's been a fan favourite for many of the drivers, with the positive camber there also helping out. Then there was Elia Weiss getting the move done for second place. Sem van der Heijden really on the back foot at this stage now. Still there in P3, has recovered back to P3, as these two have broken away. So clearly Elia Weiss is getting fed up with finishing in third, because down the inside goes for the race lead. Brilliant move there for Elia Weiss, holding on to that one now as they go through. It's still kicking off in the background there. Sem van der Heijden's getting in a bit of a tangle here with the others. Rattel, Paul Chouse has got through. Sem van der Heijden down to P6 now. Elia Weiss still leading the way from Kevin Lantinga. Biasati, Hugo Heron, now fastest driver on circuit as well, is starting to close in on this battle up ahead. Louis Johnson-Cool is there in P8. This is good for Johnson-Cool. He's not had the best of results so far this weekend, but he's certainly going to be fighting back. There he is. You can see him in the premium karting suit in the 240. Luke Horton in tow.
Interesting enough, we thought for a moment that Kevin Lantinga and his teammate Sem van der Heijden were going to be able to stay together and try to build themselves a bit of a gap, but maybe Kevin Lantinga thought that it wasn't certainly the easiest of plan, and not the one with the most safety, that's for sure. He went for the move very early, and look at what's happened. Sem van der Heijden P6, Lantinga still battling for the win. but he has a strong Elia Weiss in front of him indeed, taking the Cosmic Chassis up in front. Then almost a second down, Biazzati, Rattel, a second wagon, and it's not over yet, as you can see now, with a full fresh set of tires for Kevin Lantinga, half of a new set for Christian Biazzati down in P3. He chose the left side. There's indeed more left corners here on this track of Wackersdorf. There's, no, sorry, my apologies. There's 7 right and 4 left through the 11 turns that we have here. Elia Weiss and Kevin Lantinga. Fresh set of boots, all 4 wheels changed for this race. As you said, pretty much the entire grid, they decided to go for fresher rubber this time around. And we could only pick just a couple of those drivers who decided to stay on the same tires that they had before. So different pace. Paul Cheo's fastest lap, 50.1. Has 11 places gained for Louis Johnson Cool from 19 up to 8. And is closing in, still missing 1 second on Hugo Héroin down in P7. And at the moment, still, this is part of that phase in the middle of the race, isn't it? Where the drivers kind of go stable with the gaps, they observe each other, they try to wait for the best opportunity. Of course, they need to keep on going with the pace, and you can see Kevin Lantinga is dropping slightly, a little bit of momentum on Elia Weiss. Not still the end of the world. He has a bit of time into that lap number 8 to try to counter-attack, but that means that both Biazzati and Rattel, taking Paul Cheos with them, could maybe close in on the Dutch driver in 7th place.
Maybe so. Elia Weiss, fastest lap of the race now with that clean air in front, starting to break away. Lantinga is still there, same as Biazzati, Rattel, Cheos. Looking further down in the order as well, who are some of our biggest movers, as we'll cut back to that a little bit later, as Rattel on the attack here, gets past Biazzati. Now Paul Cheos gets down the inside. Biazzati not losing 1 but 2 places in that one. Cheos trying to go for the move as well, and he moves up past Rattel. So Paul Cheos now into 3rd place in this race. Rattel's dropped back down as well, so as soon as he gained 2, he's just lost 2 again. Now Sam van der Heiden's close back in. Hugo Ron's right there as well. We've got 5 cars battling, and it's not even for 2nd place or the race lead. It's for 3rd place. Paul Cheos still leading this train as they exit out of turn number 4 in through 5 and 6. You can see the rubber that's been planted down on the circuit provided by the MG tyres this weekend. But again, all these drivers here really piling on the pressure as they head through. Again, different racing lines. I thought Rattel was going for the move again there, but no, Biazzati holds on to it. Sam van der Heiden, there's Rattel going for the move. Down the inside through turn 10, says thank you very much, and that's now released Paul Cheos, who's able to now work on his cut to try and close up to Lantinga.
It was about time for Rattel to make his move, because as you said, Paul Cheos has built himself a bit of a gap. He was able to pull away just a bit, as Biazzati wants to return the favor, that's for sure. Oh. But this is further back. Hugo Héroin running inside of Van der Heyden, side by side pretty much, but Hugo Héroin has to admit defeat just for now. Van der Heyden, who was the pole sitter of this race, don't forget, still struggling to keep that 6 positions alive. So is Andy Rattel struggling into the chicane under the pressure of Biazzati. His last contact to Paul Cheos, looking over his shoulder, the Frenchman is going to have to be protected.
Oh, dear.
2 drivers coming together, the 250 and the 414, is it possible?
I think so, and they are telling it it's Mattis Maschaltz and Hamza Al-Fayed. No, it's not them, no, I think it is, them.
Yeah,
indeed.
378.
Yeah, 378 that's going down. Mattis Maschaltz and Hamza Al-Fayed involved in that incident. Well, that's not going to go well for them. They're going to retire to 25th and 26th in this race. Race has gone on to the final lap of it, and Rattel is defending like crazy here from Christian Biazzati, who's trying to get past. Down in towards turn 3. Keep an eye though. Sam van der Heyden closing in. So is Hugo Héroin. They're all right there. Now what happened here? Now this is Rattel and Biazzati going through, clipping a lot of the curb. Well, there you can see drivers not very happy with each other. Sarcastic moments there. We're saying, well, yeah, well done for that. Well, what are you talking about? That was you. But I'm sure they'll sort that one out afterwards. Elia Weiss out of the final corner. Has had 3 third places, now can take a qualifying heat win and take 0 points to the name. 0 points is exactly what you want. You do not want any more than that. But Elia Weiss finishing in P1 at the end of qualifying heat B versus G. Lantinga finishes in 2nd place ahead of Paul Cheos. Then it is Annie Rattel ahead of Christian Biasati, Sven van der Heijden finishing in P6, ahead of Hugo Heron, Luca Horton, Svensson and Marchak, the top 10 on circuit. But for the Elia Weiss, exactly what they needed.
Yeah, absolutely. In beautiful fashion from Elia Weiss. 3 places gain up to P1. And we do have a new winner in the circle of the senior category. Elia Weiss putting the Cosmic Chassis in victory mode with the rest of the classification, the top 10 just outside of it. Kian Gerati, and talking about performance, Kian Gerati, 20 places gained from 31
superb
on the grid up to 11, close to the top 10. But what a performance for the British driver in front of Louis Johnson-Cole, who still had a good performance. 7 places gained up to P12 from Hugo Besson, 11 places gained. Luke Taylor, 8 places collected up to P14 from Nicolas Simic, a good recovery as well. P15 in the end, 12 places better in front of Louis Comin, Andrea Pirovano, Luna Claret. We had as well Marcel Matijevic down in P19, followed by Delano Wellens, and then Spanswick, Timo Wellens, Louis Schutz, and Luc Neubauer. A couple of drivers, and this might be the biggest list of retired drivers that we've had so far. We didn't get to see the checkered flag as we lost Mathis Merskaut, as well as Hamza Alfayez, Matthias van der Kerkhoff, the unfortunate Belgian driver. Another disappointing result, another retirement for him. Neubauer and, Merskaut and Alfayez coming together into the later stages of that race. And we lost as well Max Oceanbrink, then Guichard, and 2 drivers missing out onto that race as we get to see the replays of that qualifying heat. The start with 2 drivers missing, Lewis Burt and Patrick Ogorovic. As down the inside, it was a cracking start for Kevin Lantinga and Sven van der Heijden, the 2 drivers from pole position. Sven van der Heijden, Lantinga just behind, holding on to that second place and pulling a bit of a gap from Elia Weiss and the rest of the field. Some of the drivers are going cross-country just a tiny bit as we lost early on. Again, Guichard, indeed, the British driver that we've seen for the past few years competing in single-seater in British and Spanish F4. And back into the world of karting. There was the switch, the first one of many, with Kevin Lantinga taking command of that qualifying race, and that would be the start of the end, unfortunately, for his teammate Sven van der Heijden. Elia Weiss making his way through for 2nd place, and then it was the start of a lot of different battles for that 2nd position, away from Lantinga with Biasati. And the 254, Sven van der Heijden getting involved as well. Van der Heijden was trying to keep his race alive in front of the TB kart driver. Biasati telling him to stick to those positions, to try to climb and get close to Lantinga. And then the charge and the attack from Elia Weiss on Lantinga in turn number 2. Further back as well, Andy Rattel making his way past Biasati with the return, trying to at least from further back from Paul Cheos, who would finish in P3 in the end, starting with that beautiful overtaking on the inside of Andy Rattel.
Yeah, indeed, that was the moment there, gaining the 2 positions in one while they carried on battling away. Paul Cheos going defensive in towards turn 2 with only a couple of laps left to go of the race. That brought the likes of Sven van der Heijden back into play, Hugo Heron back into play as well. And that's what really kicked it off between those 4, which allowed Paul Cheos to just get away at that stage of the race. There you can see Roussel and Biasati just going wheel to wheel. There, Mathis Merskaut and Hamza Alfayez, unfortunately, at the end of that race, clearly not happy with each other, but understandable in a retirement of a qualifying heat. Elia Weiss, though, will be delighted. After 3 third places, today's first race sees a race win. Exactly what they would have wanted. Qualifying heat A versus F for senior. X30 is coming up next. And, well, it's been an absolutely brilliant day for the drivers right at the front of that one, because it's Danny Caronini starting on that front row again for Caronini. He's been, he's been one to watch over the course of this weekend because, well, everything's just gone kind of well for him. He's not had wins in his qualifying heats. He still had to work relatively hard in all of that. You know, he had 5th and a win previously. He had a decent result earlier on as well. Wasn't a win, but he still had a decent result of what he wanted to to get from the rest of the field. That race, A versus F, is coming up next. It was Group A versus C that was out in that one. Finished P3 in that race. So he's sitting 8 points to his name in the intermediate classification. But outright pole position in time qualifying meant that the Zanki Motorsport driver had immense pace over the course coming into this weekend. And he has still delivered that one. The racecraft is bang on there. He's a very experienced pilot. He knows what he needs to do in all of this. We did catch up with him after time qualifying, after he did put it outright pole. Here's what he had to say.
Danny Caronini, well done to you. Very strong job. Almost a full 10th of a second faster than the previous pole sitters. That puts you ahead of the pack and in full confidence in Wackersdorf.
Yeah, I make a really good lap. Only a little bit small mistake on the second sector, but really good lap. I start in the first leading the group, and it's so good. The pace is okay. We will see.
We will see indeed on a tight and technical track here in Wackersdorf, in the competition as high as it is in the IAME Euro Series. You expect strong battles coming to the heats?
Yeah, sure. This track is not easy. I think here the driver make a lot of difference. It's not It's not so big the track. I think everyone will close for all the race, and we will see how it is.
You are one of the contenders in the battle for the title this year. With that in mind, does it put you in a position of strength, or you try not to think about it?
I think I can fight for the championship, and I'm here for that.
Fantastic. Well done to you.
Thank you so much.
Well, great to chat to Danny Caronini there after time qualifying. Definitely the results he will have wanted in that one. And cool, calm, collected as well. Is not an excitable driver. Always has a very valid opinion when he comes out with something. And again, just a very well experienced driver in the class. Last year, champion Kai Atkins. You're looking at that on your screen there, and you know, that was a close little championship that they had between that one as well. Danny Caronini last year finished 11th in the championship standings. He right now is battling right at the sharp end of it.
Yeah, he's always been one of those names to keep an eye on, you know, definitely so. Danny Caronini, with the experience that he has been bringing to the IAME Euro Series, but this time around he found himself in certainly the best positions he's been in for the past few seasons, with a second place as best finish in Franciacorta on home soil in Italy, a race won by his teammate Riccardo Ferrari, so it was a 1-2 from Zanki Motorsport. Fionn McLaughlin, you saw him briefly on screen as well, the young standard bearer from VDK Racing from Ireland, starting on the front row, on the left, on the front row, as the wind has been picking up slightly here in Wackersdorf, still very hot in temperature, 27 degrees, as the people are gathering, mechanics, families and friends on the tower, the main tower of the Pokal Wackersland facilities, when there is also an indoor karting circuit just in the building next to this track that we have here. So if you want to have a go at some karting as well while the competition is happening on track, you can do so, and please join us this weekend.
Indeed. Well, the karts fire up their engines and make their way out to the circuit. Let's take you through the starting lineup. Danny Caronini and Finn McLaughlin going from row 1. Vilma Svan and Austin Gale on row 2. Maxim Blanchimard and Knut Nilsson round out row number 3. Max Hetzel and Mattis Barb round out row 4 ahead of Adam Rahali and Clement Outron on row 5. Manuel Wagner and Matteo Zanchi go from row 6. They'll have Henk Vuk and George Nassar on row 7. Miguel Silva and Rocco Curcio round out row number 8.
Row number 9, Reimer Blanc and Annabelle Briand. We have Louis Tortmas and Conor Grant following on row number 10. Row 11, Morgan Knudsen and Bertram Satch. Mark Granada and Travis Nougarade, row number 12, followed by Robbie Buckley, Christian Vergani, Matteo Bouvagnier, Dylan Patel, Yannick Remert, Emiliano Van Overberg and Juan Pablo Girard. Do we have everybody on board? Yes, we do. 31 drivers entering the formation lap. 2 laps as always. The one to get the tires, the MG tires up to temperatures. The other one to keep doing so, but certainly, and that's the most important, to get everybody light down and lined up for the formation of the grid. And as we mentioned before, so far so good in terms of starting procedures. It seems that our race director, Mr. Martin Bean, has been more than happy about the way things have been going in all 3 classes. It's not unusual to have a second, sometimes third starting procedures. As we run on board with Matteo Zanchi here, another strong name to keep an eye on from the Zanchi Motorsport, the Italian team who's been really working hard to find the pace, and they did find that strong momentum so far in Wackersdorf with the Tony Kart machine. One of those racing teams using the OTK product, and there's all sorts of different material here that we get to see competing in the IAME Euro Series, different chassis, different colors, different liveries. That's very colorful, isn't it?
It is indeed. False start has been declared on that one. Not going to say.
Did I just jinx it?
Yeah,
I'm
I think
sorry
so.
about
No, you're fine. You can buy me a drink later. Race director must have been not happy with the formation on that one. Understandably, there were gaps everywhere. There was cars going too fast in some places. It was just not a good getaway on that one. I'm very curious. I'm going to ask on the live commentary here to the producers that will be talking in my ear right now to see if can we get a replay of the marshals' synchronization of dropping those yellow flags after the grid had gone past them on that red line, because my goodness, was that in perfect synchronization. It's like even the turnaround as well. The marshals here, absolutely second to none. We're going to see it again, I'm sure, on this shot. I just want to see if they're going to be absolutely in sync on this one, because I don't know why. There we go. Here's a replay. Look at this. Cars go past and flags drop. Oh, just superb. I love it. I love it. It's so weird, but I love it. There we go. Oh, we might see it again now as the field make their way through. There again, the two marshals getting themselves lined up, ready to go on this one. Front of the grid, nice and calm, nice and collected. Are we going to see the shot? Ready? 3, 2, 1. Oh, not in sync that time. Not in sync.
Yeah,
just out of sync.
Oh, you're being harsh.
No, I'm being... no. Brilliant stuff there by the marshals. Right then, this looks much nicer. Drivers that get themselves lined up ready for this one. Lights go green. We are racing down in towards turn number 1. Great stuff for Carinini. Keep an eye on McLaughlin, though he's there. 3rd place, 4th place, maybe even 5th place as the inside line get through well. Down they go in towards turn number 2. Oh, again, everyone getting squeezed out wide just in the background there. But Danny Carinini at the front of this one is leading the way ahead of Vilma Svan.
Yeah, good getaway for pretty much everybody here. We've seen briefly one driver in the middle of the grid as we were coming across the start-finish straight. And he was gesturing to the race director and certainly not happy about the starting procedure. But still, the lights went out and we went racing. So we might need to see that again. And there might be some penalties for him, unfortunately. Despite not being happy, if you're outside of your corridors, 2 or 4 wheels, well, that's worth a couple of seconds of penalty for the ending result. We're not there yet. We'll see what comes out of that situation as lap 1 is completed, and Danny Carinini gesturing already to Vilma Svan. They have 1 win each, and Danny was like, okay, stay with me. Let's build that gap on Maxime Blanchemain. With Adam Harali in P4, climbing 5 places up to the top 4. Right inside, Vilma Svan, there he goes already. And switching the position, beautifully made from Danny Carinini. He has the experience. You've seen that happen already today and yesterday. And it's not the kind of trick that he will fall into. Not the sort of trap he will fall into, shall I say. As Carinini is back in the lead, Van down in P2, and while doing that, well, we have Maxime Blanchemain, the Frenchman, coming in and getting close to the leading duet. Adam Harali at the wheel of his Victoria Lane machine further back. Austin Gale down in P5 from Matteo Zanchi, followed by Phil McLaughlin, Knut Nielsen, Georges Nassa, and Clément Autran down in P10. Not the best of start from Phil McLaughlin. He was on the front row of the grid and is only down to P7 after 1 lap.
Yep, certainly is. While keeping a close eye on this top 3 right now, as Adam Harali sets the fastest lap of the race in P4, is looking very, very strong right now, pushing himself forward in this race. We'll just keep an eye on how it progresses, but certainly right now it's looking very, very strong. We're on lap 3 of 11 at the moment, as the whole field just slotting itself into position. Everyone kind of in a train at the moment. No real chances for overtakes in the early stages. McLaughlin has just got past Matteo Zanchi. That was for P6 and 7. So there are changes all the way throughout there, and you can see there the tyre choices. Danny Carinini and Vilma Svan both choosing the same tyre choice on this one, both deploying a brand new set of tyres on the left-hand side of the kart as they make their way through. And again, that's been a carbon copy for so many drivers deploying them on the left-hand side, because there are more right-hand corners. The left-hand side tyre kind of helps around, just get it round on the outside. McLaughlin, now the fastest driver out in circuit, currently in P6, is looking to recover now after starting on the front row of the grid. Another change of the lead. Vilma Svan back down the inside, but this time makes it stick. Exactly what you want to see. And Vilma Svan now breaking away. Adam Rahali, under investigation and at an early stage of the weekend, at an early stage of the race. Could it possibly be a start line infringement?
That could be. We might need to see that again because it went very fast indeed. As we'll get back to that, but knowing that he's in P4 at the moment, certainly not the kind of news that he will receive. As you can see, change in the qualifying heats classification as well. As it stands, Wilmers Van, if he stays where it is, would still be our leader with 4 points. Elia Weiss would make up a place up to P2, and Juana Aloya down into P3. Classification you can follow on the live timing of Apex Timing, the official partner of the IAME Euro Series. Matteo Zanchi, we're just mentioning him, on board with the Italian as he makes himself get away from Austin Gale. He's getting ahead just outside of the last corner. Matteo Zanchi was 12 on the grid and currently sits in 7th, and now 6th place, getting ahead of Austin Gale, as we said. Back with the leaders. Wilmers Van, Danny Carinini outside of turn number 2, glued together pretty much. The question is when and where to pass. We've seen those couple of overtaking spots being well exploited by most of the contenders up there. The question is there any more difference that can be made through this track? You heard Danny Carinini at our microphone earlier said how tricky and difficult this circuit can be for overtaking unless you find the right spot and the right momentum. But you could expect your rival to see where you're going and close all the doors. And at the moment, 1 second, it's splitting Danny Carinini and Maxime Blanchemin. Blanchemin under the pressure, so to speak, of his teammate Adam Harley. And Fionn McLaughlin, in the meantime, getting himself into P5. It was P7 2 laps ago. Matteo Zanchi, Dale Nassar, as well as P4 right now for Fionn McLaughlin. Yes, indeed, was spotted there, Anthony. Now we will have to keep an eye as well on the race from the Irish driver, putting out the fastest lap in this one. And as you can see, the VTK driver now up into P4 from Adam Rahali. Matteo Zanchi, Gael Nassar Silva, and Rimmer Blanc running out the top 10.
Changes happening all the way throughout the field. Rocco Cuccio getting past Morgan Knudsen for P14. Max Hetzel getting past Annabelle Brien for P20 as well. Bertram Sash moving up to 23rd ahead of Amelia van Overberg, battling away still at the back of the field. Then Matteo Bourgogne getting past Juan Pablo Girard as well. So overtakes happening thick and fast, back down the inside. And Adam Rahali getting the move done on Maxime Blanchemin again. Those two switching positions constantly throughout this race. McLaughlin with the fastest lap of the race, sub 50 seconds, 49.949, is closing in on these two ahead. Time we've got left, 1.3 seconds, which 1.2 seconds if you think about it to Danny Carinini. Is it close enough?
Concerning the start, 4-2-1 4 wheels and 3-1-4 no gap for 4-2-1.
4-2-1, 3-1-4 under investigation, please.
Well, there you're hearing under investigation for drivers, and I believe one of those is Bertram Sash under investigation. The 3-1-4 and the 4-21 as well of Max Hetzel also under investigation. So race control clearly keeping an eye on the entire field because those drivers are in the mid-pack and dealing with a lot of drama as well. So you can imagine it is a tense time. Now they've got around 40 plus cameras out there watching the racetrack has race control. You've got the 3 pairs of eyes in there, plus you've got all the marshals out on circuit, plus you've got race director Martin Bean. Oh dear. And that's happened on track. Now, who's that? It's a Sodi kart that's falling down the order. But who? I couldn't quite see the kart number on the side of the car. I think it may be Knud Nielsen who's out of that one because he's tumbled down the order and he's in that one. I think Connor Grant was the other as well. So they've had a terrible end to their race in that one and the final stages of this one. We're on lap 10 of 11. Wilmers Van leads the way. Danny Carinini still there in second place. Is Carinini going to go for the move here? Has stayed behind, has not attacked, waiting for the prime opportunity to try and go for it, or just thinking, I'll stick with second place, I'm happy with it. It's still a good position to be in. I'm going to lose out a couple more points here and there. Yes, okay. but it's not the end of the world.
It's not the end of the world, even though
dear.
The 266 out of the track. Was it at turn number 4?
That's Emilio van Overberg. Unfortunately, the driver had gained positions earlier on, dropping back down to P28. Action kicking off here. Vilversvan going defensive. Danny Caronini is on the attack.
Yeah, we might have a response to your question. As down to the hairpin, Caronini staying where he is. Watch out for Phil McConklin as well. Anything can happen into that last lap. Phil McConklin has nothing to lose. As Danny Caronini with a victory at P3 and P5. P2 were doing good, even though last 2 hairpins, 2 opportunities for Danny Caronini. As you said, Svan is going defensive into the last stages of that race. From the outside, watch out for Phil McConklin. Can he try certainly one of the tricks of the book? As Phil McConklin says, keep on going because the victory is up for grab. Into the last corner, trying to get around the inside. That was going to be a bit late and a bit tight for the Irish driver to jump past. But still, Vilmos was able to hold on to that place. Danny Caronini, we felt he was going to try. And maybe one more lap would have been needed for the Italian driver to make a difference. He's going to have to make do with second place. Phil McConklin down in P3. One more lap, that could have been an entirely different story. But that's what we're going to have to be content with at this point. 2 more races for each of the drivers this afternoon for those 2 groups. But what a beautiful battle that was. Svan, Caronini, McConklin, that's your final top 3. As another strong result in the bag for Danny Caronini, or overall pole sitter in the class. 2 more races this afternoon. Can you add any more to that?
Well, another good result as well for Vilma Svan. And just 4 points to Vilma Svan's name, leading the intermediate classifications then ahead of in the classifications there on your screen. Danny Caronini finishing in second place ahead of Finn McLaughlin, Rahali from Matteo, Gale from Blanchimont, Nassar, Silva, Blanc and Barb there as well. Curcio, Buckley getting 12 positions in that one to finish P13 ahead of Henk Vuk. Clovis Nugarade ahead of Manuel Wagner, finishing in P16 ahead of Morgan Knudsen. Max Hetzel under investigation, as well as Bertrand Sash as well. Then it's Mark Granada ahead of Annabelle Bryan. Bertrand Sash in 21st place ahead of Christian Vagani. Clement Outron not having the best race there, dropping down 13 places to finish just outside the top 20 in 23rd. Louis Todt finishing in 24th place ahead of Matteo Bergamview. Then it's Juan Pablo Gerard, Jank Remat finishing in 27th place. The retirements, Emilio van Overberg, Dylan Patel, Kenneth Nielsen and Connor Grant, unfortunately, all out of that race.
Good performance indeed it was for the drivers of the senior class in the A versus F qualifying race. Sinlos Van, another win in the bag, is second this weekend and the leading position still in the overall classification. Here's a replay of how things played out into this qualifying race with a good start from Danny Caronini. There's Vilmos Van taking advantage of the inside line just behind the pole sitter, taking P2 from Phil McCaughlan. Austin Gale, Maxime Blanchemin, Knud Nielsen in the mix as we run on board with Matteo Zanchi. We're starting from slightly further back, P12 onto the grid into the belly of the monster, where he was able to extract himself from that place. 7 positions gained up to P5 at the end of this race. Starting a little bit of a shake-off on the outside of turn number 3. Then on the outside of one of the Saudis out there, chasing the 406 in the early stages of that race. 406 with the double on the order further back after that. And then it was battles aplenty once again. We find ourselves with 2 leaders to start with. Vilmos Van with the croc machine taking advantage of Danny Caronini in lap number 2, but the Italian was quick to respond, and as so he was taking the first place back, and so was climbing through the field Matteo Zanchi into turn number 9 on the way to a P5 finish at the end of this race, as the battle was still raging with the 204 just in front of McCaughlan from VDK, as the Irish driver would closing in on the 2 leaders while they were still explaining each other, losing momentum as well while trying to defeat each other. In the meantime, Matteo Zanchi on Austin Gale, the 226. Austin Gale would finish behind at the end in 6th position. Beautiful move done in turn number 9, just before that little bump the end of the track, and another move in the bag ahead of Maxime Blanchemin, the young Frenchman. That was a close call once again on the inside of that first half in turn number 2. Maxime Blanchemin would finish in the end P7, just in front of his teammate Georges Nassar from Victory Lane. Two drivers coming together through that race. One of them being, I think, Dylan Patel. We'll get back to that as a 266. Emiliano van Overberg was lost toward the end of this race. In the meantime, the last few stages, the last few laps, we're seeing the battle raging and taking another turn between Vilmos Van and Danny Caronini, trying to protect each other from the return of Phil McLaughlin, but the Irish driver playing mind games certainly in the last lap and the last corner, and trying to get advantage on the inside of the Italian, but it was maybe too short, one lap maybe too short for a different story to be played out and to be written at the end of this qualifying heat. That's the final victory of Vilmos Van from Danny Caronini and Phil McLaughlin. Ladies and gents, stay with us because we have one more race before the lunch break through that Saturday of racing here in Wackersdorf. C versus E, the senior class still, the last rotation of the morning. We have 14 more races this afternoon with 2 more rotations for the seniors and the last 2 rotations for the juniors and the mini. Thanks again, once again, for joining us here at the Pokal of Wackersdorf. And while we're waiting for the next grid to make their way onto the track, the people of the circuit have been, you know, reasonably busy, shall I say. Happy, certainly they are, but busy as well, going onto the track and taking back some of the unfortunate drivers back to the Parc Fermé. So thanks again to everybody involved in the organization, and thanks again to all marshals who've been busy as well on the sidelines.
There is Ruben Moya lining himself up pole position for this one. Has a fair tally of good results over his racing career. And a pole position in qualifying as well in class. We caught up with him after his qualifying session.
Ruben Moya, congratulations. That's a beautiful effort for you to start your weekend. That was a perfect last lap that puts you ahead of the field.
I'm not very agree of the perfect last lap. I made a big mistake on the chicane, so I'm happy I'm first, but I'm not very happy because I could aim easily to the overall pole position. Now I don't think I will be in pole position overall, so at the end is what it matters. Yeah, I'm happy about the pole of my group, but I'm not very happy about my lap.
So the weekend is only getting started, of course, a lot of races on the way to Sunday. It's been a while since we've come with the championship in Wackersdorf. A word about the layout and the track and the possibilities here?
No, it's a really nice layout here. We see the proper drivers on the front. So I already I have a little bit of experience here from 2018, 2019, back before the pandemic and everything. So yeah, I know a little bit the track. It's going to be difficult, of course, because we have many regional drivers that are really fast. So it's going to be tricky against them.
Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Great to hear there from Ruben Moya as the engines fire up then as the karts make their way out onto the track. Let's take you through the full starting lineup. Ruben Moya and Riccardo Ferrari go from row number 1. Kiwo Lee and Eloy Gonzalez, who's looking for another win to his name. What can he do from the second row of the grid? Mickey Blascos and Cathal Clark round out row number 3 ahead of Jana Luja and Phil Strenger on row number 4, aka Phil Collins. Row number 5 sees Romo Russell and Alex Machado. They round out the top 10. Marcus Luzio, championship leader, starts alongside Colin Wertenberger on row 6. Leonardo Lagoni and Otto Pukkanen go from row 7, ahead of Alexander Ruta and Fred Green on row number 8.
Row number 9, we have Niklas Hirsch and Torben Grundal, followed by Karl Ludard and Alessandro Biggi. Row 11, Suleiman Zanfari and Luis Asser, with Jero Vandervenvoorde and Tommaso Corrione. Row 13, Rohit Sace and Angelo Meli, followed by Mathis Vandenbroek, Max Carlson, Lutz Ozenbrick, Karl Schmiderer and Freddy Ausley. Do we have everybody on board? No, we're missing Loris Sach, unfortunately. The young driver from the Falcon Racing team who was supposed to start from further back on the grid. Loris Sach from 25th spot onto that grid and is nowhere to be seen. Hopefully we'll be back for some more racing this afternoon. A couple of interesting changes when it comes to the tires onto the grid. We come to the phase of the weekend where everybody is trying to put all the eggs into the same basket. And when it comes to Ruben Moya, the pole sitter, he changed half of his set, so with fresher rubber on the right side. Interestingly, QLA just behind him has decided to do the same, but on the left side. And so, as have done Eloy Gonzalez and Riccardo Ferrari. So interesting different strategies as you can see Joan Falcao, Sara Blanco and Michael Redin, the trio of race control personnel with all of their eyes focused on everything that's happening on track and reporting to the officials for any decisions that could be needed to be made.
Synchronization check. Are we going to get it? Between the marshals there, the front of the field. Oh, they're pretty separated there, this grid. Are we going to get synchronization? Yes, look at that, perfect. Right, grid heading round into the final corner. There's a look then at the tyre choice out there. Some drivers choosing not to go for any new tyres. They're waiting a little bit later to deploy those. Right then, drivers into the tram lines. Lights are green. We are racing, and it's a great start from Moya. Riccardo Ferrari getting squeezed out on that inside curve there. Drops back a little bit in the field, but still in this race. The rest of the field, 5 karts wide in the background there, but it's a great start still from the rest of them. Q Lee sideways under braking. Eloy Gonzalez trying to get his nose down the inside. Not going to be able to do so. Stays there in P3. The TB kart making its way through. That is a brilliant start there for one of the drivers. I'm trying to find out who that TB kart is down the field. I think that might be Alex Machado. That would be a brilliant start for Machado if he's got up to there already in P4 and make that, scratch that. Yeah, now P4 now down the inside, gets past the Zanki Motorsport driver of the 288, and I think that might be Colin Werthenberger as well. I think it's been a brilliant start by some drivers.
Yeah, let's have a look at how many places they've been able to climb. Colin Werthenberger, 8 places up to 4 and 5 places gained for Alex Machado. Cracking start and opening up for those two drivers indeed, getting themselves into the top 5. Ruben Moya in the meantime, having none of it, 7/10 of a second built in just one round in front of Eloy Gonzalez under the pressure of Carol Lee. It's going to be an interesting one because we have Antonio Birel in the GP with the top 3 positions. Further back, Colin and Machado, 4th and 5th, trying to join the mix as well into turn number 9. No one is daring to move in and out. Then we have Juan Aluja, P6, and Riccardo Ferrari making his way up to P6 at the moment. Aluja, P7 now from Cathal Clark, Grundal, and Blascos running up the top 10. Fred Green, P11, a couple of climbers as well through the field. And these early stages of the race. But that's interesting. Eloy Gonzalez went from 7th to 3/10 of a second. Now with the fastest lap in the race, the Spaniard, 3 wins in the bag. And maybe willing to add another one as Riccardo Ferrari is being investigated. That's an interesting one. He's the winner of round 2 in Franciacorta. Is one of those new names that has been popping up at the forefront this season. Is one of the contenders this weekend. And while working his way through, investigation has changed for the lead. Eloy Gonzalez taking P1.
Yeah, indeed, down the inside, utilising that fastest lap of the race he collected earlier on. 50.957 is the time that these drivers are trying to match, that pace with Eloy Gonzalez, who immediately is already breaking away here. Kyo Lee right on that rear bumper is smelling weakness here from Ruben Moya and will send it down the inside, absolutely wheel to wheel, but Moya slams the door closed and denies Kyo Lee the chance of getting through. Superb driving from both drivers as they continue their charge towards Eloy Gonzalez, who's breaking away. Well, Machado's still there. Otto Pukkanen now with the fastest lap of the race. Pukkanen, who currently sits 11th place on the track, 3 places gained, as everyone trying to break through on this race. Other overtakes on that last lap. Romeo Rossell up to 14th place. Rossell needing a good day today. Unfortunately was disqualified from one of his races earlier on yesterday. I think maybe because of an incident involving a traffic cone out on circuit, but less said about that the better. But yeah, still he's recovering back in this race, and good to see that he's gaining good positions in this one. There down the inside, second attempt from Kyo Lee down the inside, and that I think is signed, sealed and done. Moya though, I don't think wants it to be done. He sends it back down the inside, goes absolutely wheel to wheel, and they both lose out. Alex Machado gets through into second place. That is a superb start, and the driver for TB Kart Racing is up 8 positions now.
That was an interesting defensive move from Ruben Moya. Run the inside once again on Kyo Lee, and this time around he makes it through in turn number 9. Defensive driving, as we said. Ruben Moya, I don't think that it was the wisest of choice to go for the right side of New Rubber compared to his strongest rivals close to him. They all went for left. Riccardo Ferrari, Elo Gonzalez, Kiolay, all fresh rubber on the left side. Ruben Moya on the right side, suddenly deciding that this left was good enough for competing. But he's really on a different pace, a different rhythm ever since the start of that race. And look at him struggle, actually. Kiolay, in the meantime, being overtaken by Riccardo Ferrari, back in the mix in front of Colin Grundal. Oh, we're going to have such a big group of drivers stuck together pretty much. This is only lap number 6 halfway through. And one of the drivers being squeezed. This is the 412, Tom Grundal, by the look of it, just in the behind Kiolay. And through the chicane, he lost a bit of momentum in the process. He's going back and left and right and back and forth at this point. Has run inside, clipping the curb is Kiolay, by the look of it, on the 230 on the Juan Aluja. He's going to drop a bit of momentum as well, the Korean driver, by the look of it. In the meantime, while they're struggling to find grip and positions, those three just pull away. Elo Gonzalez, Alex Machado, Ruben Moya, your top 3 at the moment. As we are here for the back, my apologies, with the 283. This is Colin in front of Kiolay and the rest of the pack. But this race is slightly turning into a thriller, as Ruben Moya, you can see, went for the right side of new tires. Colin Wittenberger decided to stay on the same rubber, and seems to be paying off at the moment.
Oh dear, that's not gone well at all for one of the crop promotions. That is Fred Green, unfortunately, in the 229. That has tumbled down the order now. He was involved right in that mid-pack in this sort of scrap that we're seeing here, and we're still seeing more action here. Louis Esser looking to the inside for the RMW Motorsport team, pushing himself forward. There is Riccardo Ferrari. Now he sits right behind who? Championship leader and championship contender, Marcus Luzio, who is gaining positions in this race, but at a vastly slower rate than what he did earlier on. Replay here on screen. Action going on, a little bit out wide. That is Torben Grundal there, just getting squeezed off the track, but got to say, doing a great job of holding on to it. And again, he's getting battered and bruised, is Grundal out there. He will not be happy at all. And that, now that is how we lost Fred Green as well. He was just caught out in that trap there, and I think just the concertina effect of the pack slowing down and they're going full race pace just squeezed him into a pinch point.
And we saw the 219 of Marcus Luzio as well, being in that group, squeezed a little bit on the side of the track. We have to be careful out there. P9 at the moment, Marcus Luzio. Oh, and another driver that we have lost. Could it be Miguel Blascos? I don't think it was, or we're going to get back to that. But another driver adding to the list of unfortunate competitors into the chicane. Back with Colin, Torben Grundal on your picture as well at 264. Kiolay, Colin and lead. This is the battle for P4. And Aluja, Picon and Grundal, as you can see, P8 after climbing 10th positions. This was the right choice of tires for this qualifying race. Coming to an end. This will conclude as well the first part of the day, ladies and gentlemen. The morning almost to be done. 14 races more this afternoon, so plenty of action to be followed live on YouTube, Facebook and Motorsport TV as always. With 1.7 seconds, I don't think that no one will be able to take the victory away from Elo Gonzalez on his way to a number 4 victory out of 5 races. An impressive run from Elo Gonzalez. He can certainly be so much beaten up about P19 and his penalty that he picked up earlier yesterday. Otherwise, it would be leading and crushing any opposition into that senior class. But as we have seen many times, and run inside, Kiolay, beautifully made for P4. As we have seen many times, qualifying heats is one thing, super heat and final are another. And sometimes it can go your way, it can go the other way around as well on the next day. But plenty of things to see.
Yellow flags out on track, and they are at turn number 9. 2 drivers in the barrier, and I think it is going to be 400 of Carl Schmitterer and Mickey Blascos, I think, the 2 drivers out of the track. Double waved yellows off the circuit, but all the meanwhile, they're coming into that now is Elo Gonzalez. You can see that just in the background there. And, well, drama unfolding on this final lap of the race. But clearly, for Eloy Gonzalez, the result he will have wanted, like you said there, a P19 earlier on, but now bumps himself up to 8th in the intermediate classifications as the rest of the drivers now start to struggle with their results. He is slowly eking his way up the board. It's Eloy Gonzalez for Spain across the line, takes his 4th qualifying heat win from the rest. Machado from Moya, Q Lee and Colin Berthenberger, the top 5 there. I think was Carl Schmiderer just walking away there. Mickey Blaskos, also a driver involved in that one, I think, also walking away, which is good to see, but they had a big hit to the wall there, the exit of turn number 9 nearing the end of that race, and certainly you can see the stricken carts in the background there. Quite an uncomfortable one for them.
Drama happening at the later stages of that last qualifying race of the morning. Indeed, is the classification in full. Eloy Gonzalez Moreno from Birla Racing taking his 4th victory out of 5. Alex Machado, brilliant performance from the Tipica driver. 8 places gained up to P2 from Ruben Moya. QLA, Colin Württemberg, 7 places up within the top 5. Otto Pikkonen, 8 places gained up to P6 from Juan Aruja. Robin Grondal, 10 places recovered from Marcus Lucio and Riccardo Ferrari for your top 10. 11 place, Cathal Clark from Louis Esser, Phil Strength, Nicolas Hirsch, Romeo Roussel, P15. P16 for the Revenant Suleiman Zanfari, first time in the card since last year's World Championship in Italy, would you believe, in front of Alessandro Pighi, Angelo Melli, Mathis van den Broek. P20 for Carl Luthart, followed by Lutz Oceanbrick, Freddie Ousley, Max Carlsen, Giro van der Voorde, Alexander Ruta, Fred Green, and a couple of drivers that we lost. Loris Sach didn't take part in this race. Tommaso Corrione, Leonardo Blanconi, Iquel Blascos, and Carl Schmiderer all missing out at the end of this race, while Eloy Gonzalez, well, can walk away back to the 10th with an immense feeling of pride, certainly.
Yeah, well, the start of that one, a little bit interesting. Ruben Moya holding on to the lead. It was Riccardo Ferrari got squeezed a little bit on that first apex and then ended up under investigation. Again, maybe for tramline infringement. We're not too sure. We have no idea. The race continuing, though. Great start for Eloy Gonzalez, just gaining those positions early doors, keeping that pace there, keeping that momentum. You see that the gap that he had to himself and Ruben Moya at the start of that race. We were thinking, well, this is going to be a Moya freight train here. He's just going to drive away from the rest of the field. But that didn't happen, did it? The pace he closed in and was immediately able to go for the move. He did have to wait a couple of laps, but got the job done and moved past. You can see the shake of the head from Moya, just thinking, oh, what's happened to the pace? Where's the pace gone? You can see here QLE as well, also trying to get past as well.
Yeah, remember that Ruben Moya decided to go for half of a new set on the different side than the rest of his rivals. He went for the right side, while QLE and Riccardo Ferrari, and especially Eloy Gonzalez, went for the left. That might have played a difference and a part in the drop-off overall pace for Ruben Moya, who kept struggling and going defensive, trying to hold on to those positions, get back in course ahead of QLE at some point on his way to a P3. Considering all the trouble he's been into, Ruben Moya can be satisfied with that P3 finish in the end, even though he hasn't been able to fight for the win, as Grondal was squeezed a little bit on the outside, kept it going with 2 wheels on the grass. We saw the likes of Marcus Lucio, Grondal as well, and someone else being involved. That's how we lost Fred Green, being tangled there and going for a spin that would lead to his retirement. They're still with us, but 26 and dead last in the end of the race, as Leonardo Langoni, Tipica driver, was walking away from his kart, having to DNF towards the end of the race. Big drama with 2 drivers coming together, Carl Schmiderer and Miguel Blascos, unfortunately for them, hitting the wall outside of turn number 9.
Well, it would be another fabulous win for Eloy Gonzalez. He'll be delighted with that one as he slowly ekes his way up that order. Well, the track will now fall silent for a few moments' time as the paddock goes for a lunch break. We'll be back in 48 minutes for the rest of the racing. Juniors and minis coming out after the lunch break for their second round of qualifying heats. Then it's back to the seniors again. We'll be back in 48 minutes. Don't go anywhere for round 3 of the IAME Euro Series 2024 here live at Pro Kart Raceland, Germany, Wackersdorf.